Here.
Mr. James Green, District C.
Here.
Mr. David Green, District D.
Present.
And Mr. Howard Block, District E.
Here.
All five are present. We have a quorum.
Ms. Shalom, could you please announce the time and the place for the minutes?
5:44 p.m.
Would you please stand for the invocation and pledge, please? Councilman, would you lead us in prayer?
Lord, we thank you for another day. I would ask that you would increase in us wisdom and knowledge, empathy, so that we may be able to make the best decisions going forward for the city of Bastrop. But we're not here for any shape, form, or fashion. Everything we do, be done in your son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Salute, pledge, allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anybody else want to spray, just let me know. Anybody? I don't mind. We get the public comment that is related to any matter on the agenda this time. None. Move to 5, approve resolution 26-2138.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Pro Tem members, respected officer, Mayor. Again, this resolution is for operating budget, revenues and expenditures for the general fund for this fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 and ending June 30, 2027. Members, I presented a set of amendments for the council to consider. Just one change for who came in before asked that to be moved, corrected. Amendment number 5, page 5, line 201, column I, instead of 875, that should be 870.
Which you said line 5?
Amendment 5, that's to line 5, 201. That should be 870,000 instead of 870. And thank you again, Madam Pro Tem, for pointing that out. Well, I was just pointing out the amendments I needed to make that change. It was brought out in the Finance Committee that number was in. So at any time we can consider those first, but we just want to go through the budget before the council address the amendments or have y'all. It's your pleasure.
Okay, I have a question, clarification, please, before we start.
Councilor.
I think what I requested was misunderstood, about the overtime, because it's still rolled into the salary no matter what. When you budget salaries, you budget just the regular salary. You don't even factor in potential overtime. Once you figure out the budgeted number for the amount of people working, you still don't add in overtime, because that's still a blank check for overtime. So you're not supposed to include that money in there. Once they have depleted the salary amount for the year, then people come back before us to ask for more funding. You don't just give it to them in the beginning of the year. It doesn't work like that.
That's true, but that's not what that was. Again, when I first proposed it, it was out of what I thought you wanted for is in an accountability measure. The salaries are the salaries. I just bifurcated them to just show what the historical was, because again, you take police department, the money that was spent in overtime was money that was budgeted for vacancy. So this was, and again, I don't know where the perception came like this was additional money. It was not. That's why I always said it's a distinction without a difference. I've just separated because you all wanted a measure to be able in real time, hold departments accountable. I got this directly from you all. So that's why I went into legislative chart of accounts and the object category for overtime. So I looked at what the past data was and said, okay, because of the shortage in certain departments, mainly the police department, were the fact that they were expending overtime from the money that was used for the vacancies that were in the budget. So it's not like it was never only, I take it back, the only part that was additional money was in for the marshal's office. And I zeroed that out and left the salary the same. And I just put it in miscellaneous and you see the minutes. So here again, I don't know where the misconception came in because that adjustment to the budget was what I believed. And again, I'm not gonna believe,
That's why I want clarification to make sure it was just salaries.
it was just salary.
No projected
You
overtime.
go back and look at what it was previously, is no different, but with the increase that would typically happen. So you go and look at what total salaries were last budget, look at what total salaries is with these amendments, it's the same thing. It was never additional money outside of what was put in the marshal's office. That was additional.
That's incorrect, Rick.
Which one?
But you wanna go by line?
I'm just trying to get clarification to make
Yeah,
sure
because
on the
I'm
salary.
gonna try to explain it to you.
So when we get to the police department, when he tell us how many we're budgeting, the math should add up.
right, but if you go by what the budget was the previous year, and again, there is some additional monies that's added because it's time and a half. But the bulk of that money was for the vacancies that were in the budget that just happened to be spent on overtime. And again, it's not dollar for dollar. It is somewhat of an increase because you got the halftime part of it is. So essentially, you are correct that it's still a
The
halftime.
one that makes sense.
Councilman J. Green?
So I just want to say the one that really makes sense would be if we just going by number wise for what was budgeted and what was projected, but projected spend and then what was budgeted for this current year would be the fire department if you want to include the overtime. Everybody else is almost additional. And I can walk you through it once we get to me.
I'm gonna ask the council to let each council finish talking before you interrupt.
And
information,
Councilman J. Green?
point of information. I think everybody's kind of saying the same thing.
Right.
But in order to understand, we have to walk back to the year before. If you go back to the year before budget, because you looked at what the budget was, I mean, what the salaries was at the end of the year, and you plug those numbers. So you got to go back to last year. And if you budget for just say 12 employees, 12 police officers, you go back and you look for what you budgeted. Like what she's saying you already computed the overtime. You saying I'm doing it because that's what they spent last year. But if you go back and you look, can't do it now, you know, Chief Reed probably gonna have to go back and compute just what regular salary was, not the whole stuff. And then you will see exactly what everybody's trying to say. Because when you just plug in numbers, you add overtime and everything from last year. That's how you projected this year's budget, because you're looking at last year's budget. You look at the totality of it. But you got to break last year's budget down to kind of see what we're talking about.
And that's exactly what I did with the proposed, because again, if you look at police, that budget originally was set at 960,000 and it's amended to 910.
Okay.
Okay, and then that difference is the halftime, that if you don't budget it, it's gonna blow a hole in it. But again, if I didn't separate it, you won't be able to track it. So again, I'm responding to what I thought were requests that y'all were asking to be able to track it in real time, because again, Ms. Green, you are correct, is that halftime is the additional, but you can't have overtime without paying the time and a half. So it's still built on that the previous budget, which was 960.
I guess to simplify,
Councilman J. Green?
I guess to simplify. probably asking the wrong person. How many police officers did you budget for your department last year?
Good question.
And that's what we'll know. If you tell me how many police officers you budgeted for last year, we can do the numbers, we can run the numbers, and I can tell you pretty much whether you on point or not, because you plug in numbers, right?
Yeah,
I'm saying because actually right now, how many police officers did they account for last year? Can you tell me?
not the top of my head. Yeah. I think it was,
That's it, I'm asking the wrong. Right, you plug in numbers. I need to know specific details. When you refer to the budget act, they talk about specific, right? Itemized,
Right.
different stuff. You gotta itemize, right? So I'm asking you, where the department heads to show you, Mr. Green, to speak up a minute, to show me where and how did you come up with those numbers when you talk to the department head? Because I want to know how many people did you budget for? If I don't know that, then I'm still in the blind. I'm looking at your numbers, but if you give me something to go by, then I can say, well, you're right. I want to, my time is up. I prefer back to Mr. Green.
Councilman.
yeah, and the chief could tell you, okay, I got so many and the hourly rates of this and that. Again, I just pull the numbers, add them up, and do a projection.
Councilman Lee Green.
That was one of my questions, so I do apologize. The police department kind of makes sense too, you're adding overtime, because because it's everything in front of you, the 25, 26 budget, as well as what projected to spend by tomorrow. It's June 30th tomorrow. Yeah, so, and what you budget for going forward. So if you do add those, for the police department, you do add the overtime, it do, it's around the same number as what's projected to be spent by the end of this year.
And it's actually less, because you look at what's in the amendment, I'm proposing 910, and we had,
But I do have a question on that. The question, I don't know who that is, so.
that's the question, I'll tell you, I mean, nothing.
With the police department salary, is any of these funding go towards sheriff department?
No,
So it makes sense.
yeah, because there's no line item for that, so no, I can answer that.
Point of information.
Councilman Jay Green.
Glad you said that. Because when I spoke with the attorney last year, we did the numbers, ran the numbers. And people don't realize that we actually shrink our budget because we cut out the sheriff department. They said that we had to pay. Attorney Jones looked into it, said no. They mandated to patrol. So my thing about it is, you got a full budget for the police department, but you working half the time that we're allotted. That makes sense what I'm saying? I mean, so you're giving us a 54, about a 52 week budget, but we only getting 26 weeks of work. Because you got a lot of this overtime computed in. Why is it? That's the question I'm asking. Maybe you can't answer it.
Well, the what I can tell you what's computed in is the full-time staff that are currently in the department and the recommended vacancies that the chief wanted funded. That's that. And if you look at year end this year and what's in the proposed budget,
I don't mind this. I know the numbers. We don't want to go back and forth. We're looking at the numbers. I'm asking a department head type question. What I want to know is how and why. Maybe you can't answer those questions.
why?
And think about it. How much you have on the budget now? Just give me the last number.
I was talking about the proposed budget. It's gonna be 910,000.
910,000. And we done cut. So if we had to pay the sheriff department, you look back, but how much would that be? Almost double.
Well, I'm not sure because we didn't have that in this current.
No, you did the last.
Right, but it was, y'all took it out before we adopted this current budget.
But what I'm getting at, those numbers, Ms. Jones and I talked about, it was was not sustainable. Police department could not continuously operate with those numbers, right? We rectified that problem. Now we see another problem, just asking, how many people did you budget for? And we'll figure it out on a regular time basis. And then we can figure out why the overtime is occurring and how can we eliminate wasteful spending. So I can't say nothing with this budget until I know how many people that you actually budgeted for. If it makes sense, I'm not talking to you, the budget preparer. You plug in numbers. I'm looking at what you plug in numbers, but you also plug in overtime. Why is it? And I'm gonna defer back to Mr. Green. I guess that's my question because it seems like you got a full-time budget, but we're not working. Maybe the chief can answer this. How many days we working a week? How many hours a week are we working? And how many weeks of the year are we working?
Because I think in some of the words that
Councilman Doty. Councilman Doty.
If, according to the Budget Act, budgeting for overtime is a legal process.
Yes, it's illegal.
Yeah, that,
It is absolutely.
let there be no misunderstanding about that.
Okay.
Yeah, it is legal. But going back a few meetings ago, when I was asking about personnel reports, I told you I counted up, I added up each department's, the number of people you had in each department, and I did so by the department number or the department code, right? So let's say, I know we talk a lot about police and fire, but it is what it is on that one. But anyway, let's take the police. We were talking about, they had 7 people on staff, right? So you did not, I'm just using a number. We say that there were 7 patrols. You had 12 that you could have budgeted. You had 12 slots, but you did not budget for those 12
No,
slots.
we did.
But because the rest of those 5 slots, they went into the actual budget, but they weren't figured in.
They were budgeted, but they weren't filled. And it ended up that salary that was allocated to that basically went toward overtime.
Right.
Because again, what Mr. Green said is that is correct in the sense that halftime is additional money. But again, most of that was based on the spending that was budgeted for vacancy. And again, if you compare this year's and this proposed budget, the spending is less. We're spending less.
Right.
Still got the extra, I would say, halftime in. Yeah, that probably, again, the department head can talk to more about that, about the strategies and plans that they have to fully staff the agency, which, in a sense, you wouldn't need as much overtime at all.
So basically where I'm going is if you go off of the personnel report, right, that has your regular salaries listed on there, right?
Field position.
Yeah, the field position. So if you add up those numbers just off the personnel report, because those are all of the people that are listed that work for the city, right?
Correct.
So if you add up all of those numbers and balance it against what's on the proposed budget, then there should be a number, right, of people that are making whatever they're making. That should be regular salaries, right? You should have a regular salary report and you should have an overtime report for the year. And if you're looking at combining those, do you combine those, or how do you do it?
Yeah, it is combined because you have to. Because again, the scenario, I can't speak for the chief. If there's 7 people on patrol that are field positions,
Right.
It's 7 from 12, so there's 5 positions that are in the budget that are vacant. What is happening is that the regular salaries for those 5 vacancies are being spent on overtime on the 7 people that are in patrol. And again, that's why I say it's the same money with the caveat, Mr. Green, you are correct. It is additional, but it's only at halftime. And it's not full time and half. The 1 time is making money that's already budgeted. And it's just the extras that halftime, which is, still less than what we spent this year going into next year.
So yeah, real quick. simply, do we have a report that, and I'm gonna say yes, because we have a personnel report. We have a report that says, that talks about our basic salaries, right?
Mhm.
And then we should have a report what overtime was for the year as well too.
Yeah, I can produce that. Like I said, it's voluminous and you have to go through it. That's why I added that object category because I heard what y'all were saying. And I was like, well, we can track this in real time. Just going by the object category, again, that comes from the legislative chart of accounts that the legislative order puts out that says we can use. That's why, again, I'm glad you brought that up. Budget for overtime is legal. Okay, just want nobody to get a misconception. It's not. So I said, okay, well, they track it. We can track it in real time. So every time we do it, we'll have to go through these reports. That's pages and pages because it's separated by department, which I can produce to you, and this just be another added document for you to go through, just like the bills and claims. You have to go through it and you figure it out, on your own. I can produce that.
All I'm saying is
Right.
when we get ready to prepare the budget, that's when those numbers become important.
That's why I threw them in here to let you know what the historical is, because that's why I put it in the budget to let you know, hey, this is what historically overtime is. And oh, by the way, outside of the halftime, it's not new money or additional money.
So did you look at a couple of years that we had the historical where we with the overtime?
I just did the current year. I just did the current year projected. That's why I put those in the budget to show you what it is. Yes, sir. And that's the reason why I put it in there, for you to have that snapshot, because this is what we're doing this year based on that. But again, that report is going to just have the field position. And again, the chief can tell you, what he plans on for as what's in the budget for filling those positions and what salary those positions are filled at. And then you can, do the numbers that we've already done. It's just, once we do the numbers, we put it in there. And, again, it's up to the departments to tell you, how to itemize. So I'm not going to have it itemized in my head. I could put a report in there for you to look at it so you can do it itemized yourself. Because my whole thing is, I heard your question and concern. I tried to remedy it. I did not have no idea it was going to be an issue. So that's why I backed it out, because that would have gave you real time to track this, have questions for the department heads, because that's what you said. And that, again, this is not extra money outside of the difference between straight time half and time and half, because that's what the increase is. It's the difference between straight time and time and half, which is
so last question. If you go by what we the last year's number was, it ought to be pretty much on the same on par with what.
Yeah, you can look at it.
What
And
this
then
year's number is.
it's less. We spending less money, so it is less. It's a reduction, and it's for different reasons. It could be what Mr. Green was talking about, the abbreviated schedules, because there had to be a reason for the reduction, because the vacancies are still there, the overtime is still there, but we spending less money, so it's a reason for that. And I guess the chief will be able to tell you, but my assumption will probably be on what Mr. Green was saying, is that we're not staffing every day, and that may be the reason why we still spend the overtime, but at a lesser clip. I know that I can just tell you what I'm assuming, because the numbers, we're spending less money than we did last year, but we still got the same problem.
Before we go into Council Lady Tappan is next, do anybody have a question for Chief Williams? He got to leave for family. Do anybody got any question for him?
I have one question.
Chief.
Chief, I'm just looking, we see your overtime. I think it's because of the way you work your shifts.
Yes.
Is it 7 on, 7 off? How do y'all
We
work?
work 24-hour shifts. So, we're gonna get overtime regardless because we work 56-hour work weeks, other than admin. So they're guaranteed some overtime, time and a half. But with vacancies, they're filled off those salaries. The salaries pay for overtime. So, right now currently I'm four short, so that's every day. So that's somebody every day this off. So that's one overtime slot every day because we don't have extras. And then anytime we have somebody on vacation, which is pretty much every day because Fire and police get, I think, the max, you get 15 shifts. So if you take all your 15 shifts for a senior man, that would be a month and a half, 45 straight days he's off paid. So for one of those days he's off, you gotta pay somebody to fill that slot. So you always got somebody off on vacation on every shift, and then we're short at least one on every shift. So that's 2 slots basically. Then you have to figure in, if anybody's off on extended sick leave. So we've had a couple this past year that was off, 8 months. One was off 8 months due to, an illness. So that's a spot, you gotta pay that spot to fill that slot. So we don't have extras to step in and fill those positions. If you wanted to cut down on overtime, you had to supply more employees. And I've ran those numbers before. Back when Mayor Cotton wanted me to run those numbers. And I ran the numbers, so basically paying the overtime versus a salary employee with fringe benefits, the numbers was tip for tat, but it was not enough difference to go either way. And some of that overtime is also a benefit that keeps your employees here. Because if they was making that bare minimum, I can assure you, the ones at the bottom are probably gonna be looking for another job. But there's a happy medium there with that overtime. Sometimes it's tough to fill, but when you can fill it and it gives those employees an opportunity to work a shift or 2 extra, that's the benefit of the job, because it's tough making it on the salary.
And to add to that, what Chief just did, is again, you get away from those legacy costs that bite you in the end when it comes to these unfunded accrued liabilities when it comes to benefits. So here again, I'm gonna harp on what Mr. Doty said. A budget for overtime is not illegal. It is essential for this department. And it's always historical. So here again, outside of the fire department and the marshal office, and I can't really say that that's extra because that's what he needs to run the department. We have a fire rating that is what it is. And the mayor's priority was to fund police and fire first and do everything else with us priority. So it's one of those things where, I understand the concerns about overtime, but if you look at the trend line in the data, again, we're spending less money overall, but that still doesn't negate that there's issues with certain departments. I'm not skating over that, but it's not from a budgetary standpoint something that's overly critical outside of when you run a department to the point where you rely so much on overtime outside of the fire, you run the risk of having retention issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Councilor Tapper.
Okay, Mrs. Smith has said twice about overtime not being illegal to budget. I don't think anybody has insinuated that it's illegal. That's not the point. I said it's not good practice in budget preparing to budget for overtime. And that just comes from years of preparing a budget. So I have experience in preparing a budget. Because you allow one of 2 things when you just give people a blank check, or you're gonna bust your budget. I mean, either way, it's not good practice. And that is my point. Nothing that is illegal, never said that.
But it is practice for the fire department.
It's not good practice in preparing a budget.
So, Chief Williams,
Councilor Lee Green.
let me ask you a question. So when we in the budget process, do you give Mr. Ricky his numbers? Is it broken down into overtime? Or you just give him your spending for this particular year, for the current year?
So you just figured on salaries only.
Yeah,
Mr. Ricky pulls those numbers out of, was it
GFI.
GFI? Yeah, he pulled those.
Okay, so normally before this, how do you normally present your budget?
So we had, we turned in the department roster and any vacancies. So for my department, it's 40 members. So that's what's budgeted for salary wise. And there's one thing, I don't know where, that'd be a question for Mr. Ricky, that don't reflect, it's in one of these numbers here, but you have to also consider holiday pay. So we get 13 paid holidays. So when you figure that up, for a 11-man shift or a 12-man shift, That's 13 days that you pay them double time. It does. So that, that's in there somewhere too. And it's probably on the overtime side. So that's something to figure in too. That's a pretty big number. But I don't think I answered your question fully, Ms. Tappan, about the shift. So our guys, they work 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 24 off until they work 5. So they're off every other day. And then after they work 5, then they're off 6 days in a row. But they get paid on an average. So that average is 112 hours every 2 weeks. So that's versus a 80-hour employee. They're getting paid on average of 112 hours every 2 weeks. So that's another number there. So by law, anything over 53 hours is overtime. So that's where they get at least 3 hours of overtime every week. So that's 6 hours per pay period per person. That's got to be figured in. But as far as the numbers, those are salary numbers, and then what you ain't filled in those vacancies, the overtime is taken up. He's just got it broke down.
But you got,
He's got the raw
A lot of
number.
people.
you have an offset too, though, don't you?
So,
You have an offset, like your department give us revenue, right?
yeah, so, fire district number 2 is actually, so they consider, they take care of 12 of those employees. So on the average, you're looking at 1.1, I believe, roughly, don't quote me, it's close to 1.1 million a year is what fire district number 2 pays the city, just in salaries alone to operate their stations as well. So when I tell y'all, we got 40 employees, the city of Bastrop gets compensated for 12 of those employees. So that's really 28 that the city goes out.
I think it's a 1.1 million.
Yes.
Somewhere.
I think we all say the same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I'm just trying to
I think we all saying the same thing, it's just for vacant spots. Not vacant spots, but those number of people, even though they're not in that position. And that's why it's very important for us to know how many people we have in each one of.
Yeah, what's do you short how many, Chief?
I'm sure 4.
Yeah, but also too, with your force is a little different than most, right? If somebody had to fill that position for
Somebody
that.
had to fill that spot. And then just like you heard the police chief say the same thing, just because I hire 5 people or those 4 people, well, then those 4 people don't go directly to that spot and cut that overtime out. They gotta be trained as well. They gotta go through an academy, they gotta get trained, and until they really start driving a fire truck, which is almost a year from the time they employed, they're not gonna cut out on that overtime.
Hey, I got another question.
Point of information, but
That's Jay Green.
that's my, glad you alluded to that. That's what I was getting at. Back to this, I just wait till the police chief get up here. Cause you hit it right on the head. When you budget, because I'm just saying, I keep asking you the numbers. And you tell me it's vacancy, because they just can't really just go on the street. But I'll wait till, yeah. Thank you for asking my.
Anybody got any questions?
I give you the numbers and he can explain.
Right. So he's short for us, so it's pretty much, he not really just busting the budget because his for maintain what, it's like a 4 he missing. So he really ain't.
I'm sure 4, but like I said, there was a couple more things, factors to where my overtime was higher this past year. Like I said, I had a couple on sick leave. That's just like being short when they're off. If you get somebody, if you get this misfortune, gets injured on the job, it's off 6-8 months or even close to a year. You never know. So those things that can come up, that can, elevate that overtime as well.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Anybody got Chief, Reed, would you come up, please?
Before we come up, can I do what I typically do, just go over the numbers and then talk? Again, the police department, you go, that budget is on page 89, lines 337 to 372. Again, the police department is budgeted for a total budget of $1.9 million, which is a 3% decrease from what's projected to be the year-end budget expenditure for the police department for this FY 25-26. Again, I put amendments, in the set of amendments that I have, specifically amendment number 9 and 10. That's basically is going back to what was done in the past. All of the salary information is just put into regular salaries. And that part-time position, that is the salary of, and the chief can explain, it's the, I want to say the detective, it's one position, I need to tell you what that position is, but it's one position that is part-time. Here again, his budget is 1.9, which is 3% less than what's expended in this current fiscal year. So that budget is actually going down in regards to salaries. Even with that amendment, you're looking at just over $1 million being spent this year, and the budget proposal put total salaries at $910,000. So there's about what is that? About I want to say $80,000 difference. So Chief, with that,
Come on, Chief.
so those are the numbers.
No.
Okay, I have a question for clarity before we even start. Now, the amendment says page 8, line 338, column 1, salaries 910. But you telling me the total salary budgeted amount that you budgeted was 1.9 million for the police department?
No, I don't know where you get the 1.9. It's
What did you say?
910.
Oh, you said
Yeah, you
1.9.
just said 1 point.
No, the total budget expenditure is 1.9. That's total, that's everything.
Okay. Okay.
Councilman Jay Green. Who, Councilman D Green? Chief, any questions you got for Chief Reed?
Oh, yeah, Chief, how many are you budgeting for and how many vacancies are you?
We budget for 23. We vacant, that's with the,
That's what the radio.
yeah, that's with everyone, including the whole department. We budget for 23. Out of those 23, 12 of them are on patrol, 3 a shift, 4 shifts.
So how many are you short for your department?
At this point, I'm 4 short in patrol and I'm 2 short in dispatch. And that would give me 23 people. Actually, I'm unsure if it's 23 or 24 that we budgeted for. My figure shows that we budgeted for 23.
So, but that's the full staff for you, right?
That's a full staff. For
So how many on staff is 17?
it's 16 on staff,
So you short 7.
right, all together, correct.
Point of information.
Councilor Chapman.
So the 23 shifts would allow you to run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The 23 positions, yes, ma'am, would.
Yeah.
Point of information.
Councilman Jay Green.
It's no.
Oh, you just stated something that 23 number would make you be full-time, work full-time?
Yes, sir, you would have,
But-
oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, but the real holdup is in patrol.
Correct.
That is our sticking point. And that's why I was asking Mr. Smith, when I'm looking at these numbers, when you budget these numbers, and that's the thing I want to know how many officers that you budget for. You're the right person, I need that. You done gave me some numbers. So when I look at these numbers and I say, if you fill these 12 slots, because you got 5, it's not filled, right? 4 or 5.
Correct.
Just roughly. So when you fill those vacancies, what are you gonna do about the people? What are you gonna do in the meantime when you have to train those people? Because you can't go right in. So for about 6 months, you're gonna be running sort of a deficit because you got to train those people. When you fully staffed, then I guess I'm talking about when I say wasteful spend, I'm trying to see how are we gonna be able to fund it when I'm looking at these numbers. And Mr. Smith said, you add that half for, what he said, just a half. When you add the rest of those people, then you're just going at the half. Because it's not gonna be a whole.
Right, so if once he, just say tomorrow he's fully staffed, the access will be basically that halftime. So whatever, once he full-time,
I'm stop right there. You're exactly right. You saying what I'm saying. When you fill it up, you're just gonna be stuck with that half, right? But my thing about it is, it's not gonna be sufficient because you got to send those people to training. So you're gonna have 12 people, then you're gonna have, I just say, I don't know how many you gotta send to training, or you might have someone that's post-certified. So what I'm saying is, I don't know this if I don't get a report. I gotta know how you operate. You can't just come here like Stevie Wonder and say, thank you, Chief. So if you got a post-certified, they can go to the street. I don't know what the department is by retraining or whatever. But just say, if you want younger people to come in, they gotta go to the academy. I'm just saying, if you fill those vacancies, but you say you got 4 already that's coming.
Right.
3 or 4, whatever you said in the last meeting, that'll put us at 7, 8, 9, close. I'm just roughly. And then what if you hire 4 more and you fully staffed, but those 4 people have to go to the academy? Then you got 6 months to a year that you're gonna be running in the red. That's when I'm looking at these numbers. I'm saying, how we gonna balance it out? It's not a got you thing. It's just that when you do basic economics, you're looking at once you fill those positions, and you got to take them based on you and Mr. Williams' assessment. You just can't put them in the street. So if you take an employee and have to send them to the academy, how long will it be before from A to Z, from the first when they leave the academy? When he first get to your police department, how long will it be before he get certified to get in a car?
9 to 10 months.
9 to 10 months that you got to pay another employee the regular salary. You see what I'm going? Because you can't put that person in. So I'm looking at, that's why I want to know about these numbers. Because your goal is to fully staff the police department, right?
Correct.
So if you're gonna fully staff the police department, we got to see how we're gonna balance the police department. That's when we got to see the wasteful spending, because I'm looking at right now, we spending for a whole, but we're getting a half. Because you're working like, well, I'm not gonna put words in your mouth because I don't know the numbers, but you working 12 hours until 24. That'd be, how many days a week do you think you work? Well, you know, you're the police chief, you know they work. How many days do y'all work actually a week?
We work every single
Every day, except
Every single
see,
day.
this spell admit that y'all working 3 or 4 days. So you work 7 days a week, but you work 12 hours a day. Either gonna work days or not.
Correct.
So I guess when I'm looking at these numbers, I guess that go back to what I'm saying. Mr. Smith, it be misguided aggression towards you because you just plug the numbers. I need to ask the people that actually supposed to give you the numbers. That's why I'm asking the chief. Now you see where I'm going about when you fully staffed, what we gonna do and how we gonna get with the mayor, how we gonna fund the police department.
Yes, sir. I think one of the possibilities is, because if my anticipation is right, we will have to come back and readjust during the quarters. That's what we're gonna have to do. If you know, we don't overinflate or anything, the anticipation, we will be having to come back and readjust as we move on.
I think that's what Councilman Ms. Tappan, that's all we've been saying. If you fully staffed, you gotta come back anyway.
Yes, sir.
So that's what we're talking about. Yeah, they're talking about, no, we don't want nothing overinflated, park recreation, no numbers overinflated, because we're gonna have to, sooner or later, we're gonna have to pay the police department to keep the police officers. That's what we're trying to streamline the budget.
And again, that is absolutely correct. Again, that's why, and I'm gonna go back to what I said. That's why I thought you wanted to track it in real time, because now you'll be able to tell the chief, okay, you're spending this the whole time, where you are on your funding now. How many people you got in the cabinet? What's the time period for they get on the streets? Just like that, said 9 months. We can sit here and calculate and do an amendment to a Q1 or Q2, but you're not gonna know it if it's not in real time given to you. But I'm gonna produce those reports for you, and you figure it out on your own. And I can't do anything because, again, you trade something that's efficient to inefficiency for what? I don't know. But again, I heard, and I thought I heard that's what you wanted to do, because that goes to, that's a tool that you have. Because when you question it, because I'm gonna give you the numbers, and you look at the percentage of the third quarter, and you had 40%, it's supposed to be at 25. He was like, okay, chief, where are you with your staff? How many people you got in the cabinet? What are you playing? And I'm just gonna give you the number and say it should be 25%, but it's at 40. So we spending more. So now to compensate that, I'm gonna project out based on what he's saying. We're gonna need this to fund the overtime until we get those people on the street. We can't do that if you don't have the data.
Well,
Right, but I'm just saying that's the reason why I was in there, for you to be able to do your due diligence. Yeah, I give you the number, and they explain to you what the number is and what they need in real time.
And that was in the statement, just for clarification. I know you said you would give us the overtime reports, yes, and we have to figure it out on our own. No, that's where the department heads come in. Department heads will figure that out for us. Once they produce the overtime amount, the salary amount, they will be able to tell us where they are in their budget. Responsibility of being a department head.
And I misspoke. That's not something I was about to come. Right, but you that from Tim, you asked. I'm just going about what I can't get to you. It's not plugged in.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So I'll take that. You're absolutely correct.
Councilman Dolan?
Yes, sir. Understand that you have 24 slots, right? 23 to be at full time. So have we not been budgeting for those full 23 slots?
Yes, we have.
So why would we have to come back once you full, come back and do it again?
If we hire officers that aren't post certified, they have to be trained. They can't go directly to working. So meanwhile, the same officers who are working the overtime will have to continue to work the overtime until we get them trained.
Right, so that's the only distinction. I just want to be clear.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Locke?
I think that's what's very important, that we know the numbers. I think we keep saying over. That's the question that we all asked all night for the last few minutes. How many people do we have working? And then it's easy to figure out. But until we get those numbers, everything is kind of up in the air. We don't know.
Well, the budget has those numbers in it. It's just the real-time adjustments are not in there, because those 23 positions are funded in this budget. It's just those vacancies, the chief better tell you what's the salary range for those vacancies. Right, but that number's in there. Yeah. He's just a better be explaining to you the application of that. Right.
Point of information, sir.
Councilman J. Green?
I think we all on the same page. My problem is, when I look at these numbers, chief, way Mr. Smith has been broken down in the third quarter, you got to finish up the fourth quarter. He right in the sixth, because we're not keep saying you paying full time, but we get part time. And if we're not working all the time, if we're working 12 hours, and I'm looking at this overtime, why is it so much overtime that's being computed and you really not, the sheriff department is working working one shift. And me and Mr. Smith talked about this a little bit when we talked about when everybody's got an off day. You rotate. You rotate in, you rotate out. But you ain't working but 5. You ain't working but half a shift and you work 7 days. Somebody's gonna be on, I can see the weekends rotating and all this, but how is the overtime so excessive? You see where I'm going? If you looking at, you just filling in Monday through Sunday. You just working one shift. So somebody's gotta work off day. Somebody gotta have an off day. So my question would be is how do you do your off days? Then I'll be able to answer my question. How do you do your off days? Just like Mr. Williams spoke about how they rotate, how do you do your police officers do their off? How they do their shit?
Tell them how you work and then tell them the days and nights. How you tell them.
They work the swing shift like that. They work 5 days 1 week and 2 the next. That's 7 days of pay period. The officers that are doing the overtime, each shift does do overtime. So on some of their off days, that's when they're filling in where the night shift would be if we had a night shift. And that's where you come in on the Wednesdays, the Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That's where they're filling in. Now these officers have vacation time that they have to use, which they have to do. Then they also have we've had incidents where we've had officers that have been injured, and one of them is still on sick leave. We had another one that was out for 6 months. We got another one that resigned while they were on sick leave. We have to pay people to work in their place. So not only were some of these officers working the shifts on night that we didn't have anyone to fill, they were filling in the spots where the officers that were injured at work. So that's where a lot of that comes from. Then you got to factor in other things such as parade details and things of that nature. But the bulk of your overtime is coming from them coming in, filling those shifts and working in the officer's place when they're out on vacation.
All right, D. Graham.
Hey, Chief, on your 5, how do y'all work? How many hours y'all work?
We work 12.
12.
So you work in 84 hours pay period. 12. You work in 12-hour shifts, 7 days. It's in a pay period.
In the 2 weeks pay period?
Yes, sir. Every 2 weeks. So the regular amount of hours that the officers would get if they weren't getting any overtime would be 84 hours per pay period.
How many officers on each swing shift?
When the swing shift works, if we don't have anyone injured, the same, but it's going to be 3 working overnight.
So on regular, on normal, how many officers do you have on the shift?
3.
3.
Councilman J. Green.
I guess my question would be like, you worked at the mill and they work swing shift at the mill because they open 24 hours a day. So if you cut it in half, you shouldn't, my just thinking, why are you using the same formula with your officers as overtime and you working half of what you used to be? You still look like you still formulating that overtime and stuff based on a 24-hour rotation instead of a 12-hour rotation. I think, but that's a department deal in America.
I can answer that.
Okay, well, please do.
We tried to fill in where we could, and at one time when we did change and try to get some help from the SO until we were able to fill those spots, people complained and they said that we shut the police department down. I only had like 5 officers. So I did gain some more officers, and when we were able to gain those officers, we started rotating just like we had been doing and trying to cover the nights. But then that's when your other dilemma came in. Officers that are working are getting worn out. And at the same time, they being worn out and they start calling in sick, you still got officers who have to take vacations. And the law says you have to let them be off. And the law also says you can't work them but a certain amount of hours. And you have to let them be off. So those are the things.
You said they burning out. When you tried that, it's officer burning. Burning out. So they're burning out in 12 hours instead of 24 hours. My thing about it is how many officers that you usually have to run a shift? I think we had got down to 3. We said we had to have 3 because you say you weren't gonna do it with 2. I got a pretty good memory. You said 3. So if you got the people that's coming, it's gonna put you at 8 or 9. The overtime should greatly decrease once all of these people are back up and on their shift.
Right, it will decrease once you get staff.
Well, I know we plan on getting staff.
Correct. Yes, sir.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, because we don't want to keep going down this road over and over and over again. Like when you said last time, I went back and I looked at the tape. Y'all know I'm big on going looking at the tape. You said that about the overtime. You know, when you came up the year before, you asked us to give a raise when the mayor came up. We was gonna give you a $4 raise, but something came up the first year. We gave you a $2. But then the next year we came up, and the mayor came in, said we need to up it. Gave him another $2. Now I ain't real good at math all the time, but I think 2 and 2 equals 4. You asked for a $4 raise. Then I listened to the thing. You said, but yeah, we didn't give it all at one time. Well, do you know how hard we had to fight just to get those $4 when the mayor came in? First time we talked about, said we got to give them some more money because they asked for $4. Am I right, Mayor? We got to make a way because he asked for $4. So I'm saying all that fighting we did, it's like, I don't want to seem like as we didn't do something because I don't want the appearance that we had your hands tied. That's the reason we still in this predicament because we did everything we've done. I go way back, Mr. Jones ago. We said we was paying the sheriff department, right? We cut the sheriff department out. They say there's a bunch of money. We done given the police department $4 raise because we said we needed it. I'm just saying, as a council person and as finance chairman, I do everything I can, and I'm sure every councilman up here, to make sure that we up and running. So it goes back. We keep following the ball back. We did all we can. Now you said we're gonna be up and running. Let's be up and running. So you got 9 officers. And money is that's when we're trying to streamline the budget. So we might have to up the pay rate. That's why we're trying to get everything streamlined. So if you can see the streamline, then you whether you would be able to fund the police department or not, because you just can't just go say you're gonna give them a raise and the money don't justify it. The budget don't justify it. You have to find the money in the budget because it has to be a continuous streamline of money coming in. It can't be just one-time money. You have to actually look at the budget and see is it sustainable. Just like playing the sheriff department, that was not sustainable. And we rid that problem, rid the police of that problem. So I just want to some clarification for the public.
Chief, Big Green. Hey, one more time. How many police officers do we have? Patrol. 8. Okay, so that's roughly probably like each police officer probably get like 1,104 hours of overtime a year. So if you do that on a rough end, so what's the average? What's the base pay of the police officer?
17, 12 hours.
So I get it at 8 times 25. That's $220,000 overtime. But we're not paying them. I'm trying to figure out how we spending it. Yeah. Because if we doing each officer work 84 hours every 2 weeks. There's 4 hours of overtime each police officer.
You doing time and a half?
They automatic.
Yeah, that was like, that's why I was doing the base pay, I was doing around $25 out.
Chief,
I was just trying to see how we get to 900,000 based on our police officers. We can include overtime. 'Cause each police officer get 4 hours, right, every 2 weeks.
I guess that's
That's for sure. That's without any of the other overtime. They're gonna get those
Yeah,
4 hours.
Yeah, that's like basic. So, like each police officer getting around 1,100, 4 hours overtime.
That's based on 4,
Yeah, based on the
it's
4.
way more.
But more than that.
I mean, I almost speak with the chief, and that's way more. On average.
We saying without the extra work they're doing, that they get 4 hours anyway.
Mr. Smith,
Yes, sir.
Councilman Jay Green, would you, point of information, Mark? Because you point of information, shoot, see. So point of information, would you elaborate on what you just said? Would you kind of answer, I know you're not department head, would you kind of answer Councilman D. Green's question? Because I think you right on what I've been talking about.
Right, but Mr. Green, you were doing the average of 4 hours of overtime per officer work. But that, according to the chief, they're doing way more than 4 because of the short staff. I don't know, I'm not sure what's the average.
That's why I asked. They doing 5 on, 2 off.
So what are they averaging?
That 4 hours of overtime is kind of like when Chief Williams was telling you that this is overtime that they're gonna get regardless. This is overtime that they're gonna get every pay period. You're not been working any extra days. They're
Right.
gonna get this 4 hours.
So the extra days is not.
It's not included. Yeah. So because I want to know. I was going on like 7 days. If I wasn't doing it.
So I guess Chief, you probably should give him some type of report on these extra days that these officers may be working in addition to what they have, would normally do. Because I think Mr. Gray is trying to calculate that gap.
I am.
They're averaging about
If you do the 8 officer times their base pay, if you just do a base pay, right? Can you roughly give me that number? If you roughly for your office just off strictly base pay only, what would your numbers be?
So and do it with, if you don't mind, do it with 6, because we have 8, but only 6 of them are, working on.
That's even better. When you do it for me, like, so if you do it just 6 at base pay, what would it be? For the year?
I might actually have that.
I don't know how long pay. Because some of them is $17 an hour, and some of them, I'm just asking.
You're gonna be in between probably 38 to 40,000
That's the money.
per office. You saying what the salary is gonna be, right?
Yeah, I'm asking for base.
At that rate, at the base, it's gonna be around 38 to 40.
40.
I would go on the low end and say 38. All of them don't make the same. Some of them make.
Ain't right. You understand? You under budget. They're going right there.
Oh, you are. You are.
We going about 48,000 per officer. We got 6 officers.
You are.
You only have 8, 9.
But I had to balance the budget, and when I just did the historical numbers and extrapolated from that, but yeah, you are absolutely correct. But we'll get there when there should be some opportunities for savings in different areas.
Well, here's the thing, then, if that's the case, we gotta be spending it where it's coming from.
We're gonna have to make that decision that the administration will recommend as we go. That's what the purpose of doing quarterly revisions. But because that's the way, because if you,
So I'm glad.
the first category that's 10%, when we supposed to be at 25, those are the target.
Well, see, if you kind of fell into my next question, so I'm glad you said it. Because I just said that we under budget to see what the chief thinks, but you spoke for the chief. Because I just budget over, the numbers I got in my calculation was like $2.3 million. But your project spending for the police department is $991,000. So where do you get the number?
Let's start with that.
But why are we doing historical data when he can give you the information, bro? Because I just said, he just told me, listen, let me borrow. He just told me each officer was $48,000. You said $40,000.
About 40,000.
Okay, $40,000. So we got 6 officers, right? We just do it at the base. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. 40,000 times 6. That's a month. How many times a year? So what they give you? So because you asked the question.
If I may, historically, our budget has been, 2.1 to 2.2 million. It's historically, that's what our budget really is. It's on the high end.
You're not under budget. Now, if you're doing 40 times 6,
No,
because that's 240,000. I'm talking now.
right, the inputs that we've been given, is based on historical. Right? Again, there's some outliers that weren't contemplated that Chief and I hadn't talked about. But again, it's a good starting point in regards to developing the budget for just the number.
Yeah, because I was, when he was talking, I did my numbers wrong, but we talking about 40,000 times 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours a year, and it's like 320 grand and 8 hours. So now we spending almost $600,000 in overtime.
No, that's
You do it.
that we look off on that. That's not.
If you do 8 hours times $40,000, that's 320 grand.
Yeah, it should be average. I would say between
Because I'm not doing it.
200 to 275 on that range. If you look at it,
Yeah, because I wasn't doing the.
So I don't-
Yeah.
which is a good thing to do when you're talking about developing a budget. Overestimate your expenditure, but underestimate your revenue.
Me seeing it, it's actually, the budget's actually cheaper from previous years because it was the 1 point something. That's why I was seeing where you get the numbers from. I mean, I'm not.
They've been historically overinflated too. You gotta understand that too. So yeah, but all the budget from previous years have been overstated. So again, I always took that 5-year actual more so than what was actually budgeted because there's more of a true estimate. But again, these are just assumptions that you have to do with the information that you have at the time. So with that being said, that's kind of part and parcel. We're looking at what's going on over the last 2 fiscal years. We're gonna be within that certain range, the same range. Because you look at what's been changed in this budget, we move in about. Let me go back to it.
Jay Green?
Chief, yes, sir. We're gonna move on to something. We got this problem with crime in the city. And when I first got on the council, we got some grant money for cameras throughout the city. And then a few months ago, I think we was gonna purchase some more cameras.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, roughly, how many cameras do we have up and running that can see inside the city of Bastrop? We got 21 cameras
Yes, sir.
in the city of Bastrop.
Yes, sir.
Did you order some more, or were they already, did you count them?
I ordered some. We have, I think it's 24 more on the way.
Well, guess my question is, we got cameras up and running, working on the police budget, because you do know eye in the sky account for a lot if you go to big cities.
Correct.
So my thing about it is, we got all these cameras. Do we have anybody that's going actually looking and monitoring the cameras, or are they just acting like Stevie Wonder? They there, but they can't see.
We use them all the time.
Well, my thing about it is I guess what I'm getting at, and that's why I'm talking about streamlining the budget. Because we might have to get somebody that's their job is just to monitor those cameras, because that will save the police officers a lot less work when you got somebody that's dedicated to that. Because all these shooting and all this, and we got 21 cameras, my goodness, and we ain't seen nothing. Well, I think that We probably seen some, I just don't know what they seen. I mean, they don't picked up on them. Let me finish my line of question. Because it's very, now, it's very serious, because we got, you know, not just on your watch, you know, you're the police chief, like I tell you, when you're the captain of the ship, everything comes to the captain or the co-captain. The mayor is the captain, you the co-captain, it's your department. We got a lot of unsolved murders, and I don't want people to think before you was chief, right? This way before supersedes your time, but it don't matter. That's what I'm saying. We want to make sure that our police department, we got them strategically to win. You know, you got your detectives and all that. So I'm saying if we can get the cameras up and going to act as law enforcement, to see something, we can have our police officers probably doing something else, because we got a lot of unsolved stuff that we got to let people know that they're not forgotten. Like, you just don't want to just 2 or 3 years and say this city of Asheville, if you wait them out, you'll get away with the crime. That's what you got to keep harping on, the money. We got to streamline, in these cameras, we got to strategically place them in high crime areas, and we got to monitor them. There's no sense in having something if you don't monitor.
It's like when we ordered some more, but we didn't have enough.
Well, Bastrop, small town of Bastrop, you got 20 cameras, 21 cameras, and that's a lot of cameras for a small town. For a small
I
city.
didn't say we had 21 locations. You asked me how many cameras we had. I said we had 21 cameras.
So how many you got up and function? No, I said, how many cameras do you have up and function?
21. That doesn't mean that we have 21 locations. We have 20. Some of those cameras have 4 cameras. Some of these locations have 4 camera heads on them. They have 4 cameras. So, I mean.
Well, I don't want the public to be deceived. Let me break it back down to you, because I'm just being a layperson, because that was kind of right push. That was kind of the right answer technically, but you know what I was referring to. How many locations, not cameras, how many locations within the city of Bastrop are those cameras located?
Right at 18 locations. 18 locations.
And if you got 21, so they but 2 or 3 on one time.
Some of them have double cameras on this one.
And people 1 or 2. You say you got 21. 18 locations. Well, I guess what I'm getting at is,
I just don't want to get into day-to-day operations and tell the public some of the things that on some of the details you're going into.
Hold up. A point of information. I think it's a public safety question, because I got about 20 calls on my phone in Texas. People want to know why we're not doing nothing about crime. I didn't ask you where the camera was located. I asked you how many we have functioning in the city. And you said we got 2 or 3 on there, and you said we got 20. And I just asked you how many locations. I didn't ask you specific locations, but I could give you my recommendation. They should be in high crime areas. So I'm not trying to get into where they located, because I want all criminals caught. In order for Bastrop to grow, we got to solve crime. And the big guy in the sky is part of it. So, I mean, we're trying to get our force up. You know, when you say we can't hardly get out, it's hard to retain officers, but it ain't hard to retain and keep the cameras up and going. What I'm getting at, which sometimes you have to think outside the box, and I think the cameras will be a great deal. I just want to make sure that we monitor them and that we strategically put them in locations. So that's a good thing, what I was just saying, because I mean, these people won't question the answer. And I told them I was going to ask the chief. I'm asking. I mean, you give me an answer, and the mayor give me an answer, all I ask. So people heard you, they know we got cameras up. Because some people don't believe it. We had to pop out and show them we got cameras.
Use them every day. We've solved many crimes with
many crimes.
Doing homicides.
Okay. That's all my question.
Anybody else got a question?
But not for chief, but I got some more questions.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Chief.
Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna go down, it's how y'all wanna do it, I was just gonna go straight down.
Council, anybody have any questions about the particular line items? The reason I'm asking, I have my.
Green?
I was just gonna go straight down. And if you have questions on those areas we hit, or it's just have the council wants to do it, because again, everybody might not have questions on every department. So it just depends on how y'all wanna do it.
No, whatever works.
No, it's whatever y'all want to do, because if you only have questions, those answer your questions and we go on.
Well, yeah, let's go to each department. We can go to each department. We doing the expenses, right?
Yeah, we go, there's a revenue, I think we get accomplished one meeting. Again, administrative expenses, they start on page 2, line 88 through line 171. Again, the administrative budget is $4.2 million, which is a 26.5% reduction. Again, I did propose 2 amendments for administrative expenses. Again, that's moving that line, page 2, line 89, increasing that 10,000, and line 91 on page 3, reducing that 10,000, and just roll that into regular salaries.
Oh, yeah, that's one particular one that I'd rather delete, because if you was to add, I'm sorry, man. If you was to add line 89 and 90, that'll give you your projected spending for supposedly what you can get for the end of this year, fiscal year, June 30th. Because you get your budget, you project to spend 936. So if you add line 89 and 90, for you have salaries, then you got part-time employees, that'll give you roughly the 936. So I'm not sure what the 10,000 for.
Well, the 10,000 was just because there was somewhat a little bit of overtime, but just to cover the bases, just in case there was some extraordinary opportunities for overtime. Again, if they're not able to flex any comp time, it's just to adequately prepare, just in case, third, fourth quarter, there may be some issues with overtime. So again, that's just a precautionary measure, and appropriate money in that category. But historically, there's not been a whole lot of overtime. Again, I just balanced the budget, and that was just one of the categories that was left off.
Yeah, I like to do the 991, not adding to 89.
Where do you want to put it?
You don't have to put it on.
Delete it.
Right, the only thing right now is gonna be the expenses don't exceed the revenues. So you can pay the budget.
You put it back to.
Yeah, I said that. That's what
Okay,
you
you
want
put
to
it
do.
back to the sheriff, whatever you want. Cause it's still gonna be in there, you can.
Still,
The motion, you make this free, wait.
No, that's just, I'll change that when we do the,
But you gonna change it during the meeting?
that's all things are changing.
So now can I ask?
So, yeah, just keep going with that.
Okay, so I'm not sure who to ask this question. You are, since administrator, you are the mayor. But so we did budget at 888,000, and we projected to spend
What line you talking?
89.
Oh, you back on 7, okay.
So and the reason I get to what I'm asking. So we are projected to spend, because I'm sure your numbers are coming from what, second quarter? What your numbers, your extra year-to-date numbers, is this second quarter?
That's third. And see, what you gotta understand is that the part-time employees, administration, I separated it to make sure that we account for full-time people. So when you get the report, you start calculating your numbers, it'll match up. So you got part-time people, like you have 5 council members, you got other part-time people that's where that salary is. So if you add all those together, it's gonna be close to what
Yep.
just rolled in there like that. So that's why
But that's
that.
all I'm saying. If you add 89 and if you add 89 and 90 together, and it give you what you projected to spend at the end of this.
Yeah, because it's not separated in the current budget.
Yeah, so that's why I said we can delete it 2,000, but you know, if you, like Ms. Angela said before, Councilwoman Kevin said, if you happen to go over, you always come back before the board. Well, you're not you per se, because you just entering the numbers.
Right.
So I mean,
I've noted that, so we just keep going. Any other questions with admin?
I do.
Councilman,
I'd like to know what employees are included in these administrative salaries.
You have. You have, again, it's full-time and part-time. You got city council, city marshal, you got department,
I thought we separated.
oh, we did, not the city marshal,
Yeah.
but the city court. That's what I meant to say. not
City.
City court. Department one, Mr. Thomas Brown, is it? So you got, let's see, 1, 2, 13. There are total of, and again, that's in the report.
What report?
The HR report that I sent to y'all in,
I want a report where it was automatically, divided up into departments. I didn't want to have to go through a report and have to.
right, moving forward, Mr. Doty has already indicated that I can't go back and do that report. But again, it's based on the current employees that are assigned to the admin. And when you get to the report, it'll be Department 1, Department 11, Department 2, you got the street, you got the city court. You know, it's just, it's
Street.
I said Main Street.
Main Street.
You got,
So we don't have the exact number, how many employees that we pulling out of administrative.
6 minus 5, so that's about 20. And again, I didn't add all those up. Numbers are all what they are. They are people that we have on staff. Plus 18 is 28. So it's roughly about, what is it, 30 employees, 31. And I may miss 1 or 2, but they're 30 something. Again, they're in that report.
I, Ricky, you wanna go
To admin or wanna go to?
yes, okay, so everybody council, y'all, we can follow each other. Y'all wanna go to line, 110? And it's a question, it's like audit expense, this strictly for,
That's for,
Jeff?
yes.
Okay, so I guess the reason, because the budget, I'm sorry. Okay, so when do Jeff give us the contract or how do they work?
Y'all appoint the auditor.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is because we budgeted 75,000 and you looking to, well, you say you looking to spend 100,000.
Well, that was that was built on based on what was going on prior to that, because y'all was spending, I mean, those numbers are just the numbers. They were spending a lot.
So that's nothing that, it's not in the contract.
The contract that y'all approved, I don't know what's in it.
Cause you say you're going off numbers and it's, I'm pretty sure, but if we enter into the contract with Jill, is it just like y'all contract is like a certain amount? So
I don't believe it is, but you have to go back and reference that one that you're talking.
So I guess that might be legal, so I'm gonna turn it point of information.
All your auditor contracts are about an hour,
Okay.
and it delineates down from there. They're just hourly contracts.
So that's, so they've been working. It was just a question.
Yeah, because those are the numbers,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was, you know, 'cause we had to get the report that the report that he gave us when we went in and talked, we had to take this in for right now. It's safe to say, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's go to line item 112. And this, streets and light, Mary, you might answer this one for me. We budgeted 242,000 and you projected to spend 295.
Correct.
Can we just enlighten us, like, when it comes to streets and lights, what do they pertain to?
That's energy costs. I mean, energy costs have been going up, and then, like, again, you plug in the numbers based on Q3.
Okay, you plug in numbers.
Correct.
I'm gonna point all, anything for the budget back to Ricky Smith.
Then it's gonna be a conflict.
Well, what
It's just asking what it's for. It's not a,
right.
because I can know when I'm going to look at the budget we're adopting, because we're adopting the numbers that we're adopting now is based on what you projected to spend. Correct. So that's why I was just asking, because now with the 295 that we budget for, because it seems as if that's like a consistent spending, because so what is it pertaining to when it comes to the 295? So I'm gonna ask you.
That, I mean, that's the street and traffic. I'm assuming that, I mean, Mr. Jones, you probably can tell me exactly what that is. That's something y'all been paying for years.
And I get it.
So I'm not sure.
We been asking the question because we was also told that we only have what's on one street light.
You already got the answer?
No.
No.
See,
I'm asking.
you want me to ask you?
Ricky told us something
Are you
different.
asking a different way? So because I'm asking, it was not it was just to know what when we say we're gonna have one street lights and we say street lights, we budget for street lights and streets and traffic lights. We don't got one traffic light.
I don't know if
I
that's.
believe that.
I believe that's the one traffic light we had to replace everything, the modules and everything. I think the project was previously allocated during the year, but the actual expenditure came, when the approval came through in the request for proposals, I believe that's only the previous administration, but I think it finally came due and was paid during the budget cycle that we had.
Point of information, Mr. Jones.
But that looked, I remember that to be the figure we had for the mods. But yes, we only, that's the figure for the, I believe that would be the figure for the street light that we actually did have to replace, where we had to go in and we had to replace the whole computer system and.
Oh, but when we had to replace, okay, so now why we budgeting again for the 295?
That's what I'm pointing information out. Mr. Green is absolutely right. We've been looking at this for like tracking this for 2 or 3 years. And it keeps being here over and over. We got away from a red light. We put a 4-way stop sign there. So I asked this question last year. I'm like, why do they keep putting this in here? And it don't even make, it should be stricken out. Pretty much. It should be down to 0.
Now you don't want to do that because you don't, because it's also the street side with it. That's why I was
Oh, yeah,
asking.
keep going.
Because I'm sorry.
Keep going. What I'm saying is, that right there, it says street and traffic lights.
Right, so streets, it's a broad statement. It can fall anything. That's why I'm here asking a question. A lot of stuff can fall on the streets, if I'm not mistaken. That's why I'm asking what it would pertain to when we saying streets.
Well, Mr. Jones did last time, Miss Betty Alford said, we had 2, and we gave away one, and we was, only reason we ended up with another one is because they went to Baton Rouge, and we took over one. And I asked the question, if we can't replace the one by the liquor store at the 4-way stop, because it was so, I said, well, if we can't replace that, why would we take on another?
And then also too, for my question, it's gonna go in line for my next questions. So when we because another item on here, then you can ask why I'm asking the question. I'm asking about streets lights, this expense. So we can cut out the expense, and you ask me we can move it somewhere else. That's one of our asking. Because it's the question on here. I don't, you want me to get to it since we're here?
Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay.
Again, that is an expense that's been on the books. And I had no reason or information to take it out, because we still incurring costs.
I'll tell you the reason, we've been on the books. By being finance chair, we've been on the books because they didn't want it in the general fund. They just allocated a special thing knowing you wasn't gonna use it. That's what you call it, moving the money. It's been there for, ever since I've been on the council. It's always had that street light and stuff, and I
Is
had,
that the pole light?
No,
That's on traffic light.
Can I just put this right in my head? So Ricky, the reason I was asking, what's the 295 for? Because then it was gonna go to my question of 315, and then, sorry, you don't want to switch. So let's go
I
to
don't
the,
want to answer it because the budget get paid to do it.
well, okay, with both, you know, because 315, we had zero, we originally did zero, and then we projected to spend $100,000 on the pool. And the reason I'm asking because now you budget the this current year coming up for 25,000, and we need more money to get the pool up and running for the kids. So now we can take away from the street lights if we don't need the 295 and put it over to get to up and going for the pool. That's why I was asking, because if we don't reduce that expense for street and traffic lights, then we can put it on the more recreational for our kids. But I don't know how to move it if I don't know if the administration need it, in a sense. So it was like Devin said, the 295 was for one, we already fixed it. So while we budgeted another 295, hey, let's give you opportunity, or the administration opportunity to get the pool up and going. Because you put, so what was going on with the $100,000? Well, how far did that take us with the pool? Because we utilized $100,000 with the pool. So do we need another 100,000? Well, we don't really need the 295 for the traffic, the streets and traffic lights. Let's put that elsewhere for these babies.
I get that, but we spending money. Again, I'm gonna see if I can pull this in GFA. We still spending money in that street and traffic light. There's certain line items that if it was in the budget prior to this coming in, I kept it in. If we were spending money out of it, if I don't have a justification for removing it, I'm not gonna remove it. So give me a second, I can pull it. Again, I don't know exactly
And
what
your year to date,
right.
your year to date is, but then it also, we spending money, but I don't know if this will relate to what he just said, us replacing one particular traffic light. Because your year to date, even though you give me numbers from February, your year to date, you at that moment from July the 1st to February, the administration spent $193,000 in this particular line item, right? So I mean, you're looking forward to spend another $101,000. See, let's see here. Now this was gonna go in. So now you just Johnny and you but at some point you're not gonna be able to answer this question, because if you just jot down numbers, then if you saying I'm about to, we finna spend another $101,000 on what? In order for you to get the number, you have to have some supporting that you finna spend $101,000. Correct. So what are you spending now? What are you finna spend for $101,000? Because you apparently you have that number. Right. What you're doing is you're tracking what you already spent. Right. But see, now when you said right, so now if you go to your protected spending, that means that you are going to spend that $101,000 because they equal the 295.
Right, because it's based on this data that's historically coming in. So again, I don't know when this line item was originally on your expenditure report for admin. It was in there when we got it. We spend the money out of the category. So here again, I'm trying to pull it.
So we steer those money. So this well, if the administration. So this is where we are. Because we want to get into no roles that they are faced at American. So where we are now is saying, okay, so Councilman Jones said there was 295 for the traffic light that we don't need to repair it again because we just repaired it. So now it's 295. So do the administration need it? If we need it, hey, let's look us elsewhere to put back to help out with some other things, other questions that more recreational. Because everybody get it. Goal is because Councilman Green also asked Chief before he left, hey, maybe hire somebody to strictly watch the cameras. So if you can cut down the expense, that's where you can add it somewhere else. But we won't know unless we know what we utilize.
I'm trying to pull up the invoice.
We already saved 10,000. That's 10. Now we didn't move it. We took away 10. And they heard, I don't know how much you pay somebody for time just to watch cameras. It's 10,000 right there. What I'm trying to do is just me speaking for myself. Make my suggestion this year. I have everything we know. You can get me out the way. That's why when we was talking last time,
Because these payments go to Entergy and they're,
see, that was confusing to me. See, when it was confusing me with what we budgeted for and what we projected the budget for. Because when you say you projected the budget for, it's something that you see on your end that's saying that you finna spend this amount of money. Well, no, because he said he projected spending. That means that that's what he. So listen. So would be, I guess my alarming point is what you budget for, then you project to spend, and you change the new budget to what you projected to spend. So that's what I'm trying to see, is this gonna be the same expenditures for this current year that we finna go into? But I won't know without asking that question.
the short answer is yes, because it's based on the,
That's fair.
yes. Which has the current data in it.
All right, well, no one thing, the 295, we're not replacing another track.
Point of information, Mr. Smith, Mr. Green is right. I'm looking at what he's looking at.
Let me, because I'm pulling something up. I'm looking at one of the invoices, and they have several different things, but that's the entry bill. But it was an entry bill, that's not this. I need to find out.
Because then you're gonna say that, then we won't say, we got the energy, a fee too. Yeah.
That's offset.
This one.
I'm trying to get this.
Oh,
Y'all, you gotta be looking hard and everything, but you still.
Attorney Jones, they Green over there, and while they getting this, we gonna stick right where we at, 112. And you're right, because I'm looking at these, what they spending out of it. I got to go back and look years past, because we had this conversation, Ms. Jones, with this, we was wondering what this money was here, and they said, the previous administration said, we need this to repair the red light. They wasn't spending nothing else out of it, because it was set aside for the red light. Not looking at, we actually spending stuff out of it. So,
See, here's the thing, and Devin, point of information, you can correct me if I'm wrong. See, you cannot take streets or sewer fund and to replace it into like park and rec. But this particular item is under administration, so that's what I'm saying. It can fall under. Devin, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can, if you had a particular line item under administration, it can fall on anything dealing with administrative, right?
It's general fund.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. So it didn't have to be.
That was a big part about that last.
Yes, it will.
And never did do anything with that.
and then when they came,
They took it down.
yep, they said we actually had the money, it was gonna cost so much to keep repairing the light. We couldn't keep doing it, but they kept putting it in here over and over. And I'm like, if this is for street lights and red lights,
It's not a street light.
it's not a street light, we don't really have one. So I'm like, Ms. Locke, you got me thinking, so what are we spending it on now? We used to just, it just was sitting out by itself. Cause like, as Councilman Green said, we paying the utility people, so it should be, whatever you put in there, it should still be in there if we ain't using, if we ever use it for a red light.
Oh, street light. So what did that money be used for? It wasn't used for that light. What do you got?
Just imagine.
See, last, before you missed it, we had about 9 items in there that shouldn't been in there because it was just fluff. And this was like one.
That's what you just said. You just said.
Just said-
Eugene. But like what you just said, yeah, county, they pay. I love it. We usually pay out.
You use some of where it's not like that. They do put in for it.
See, so you know, Ricky, you know what, can I share something?
Yeah, that was,
You know, when I was speaking about the year to date, that's why I was kind of like, if it was a more closer date, then it would, you know, it'd be a more easier answer to answer. Because then you know where those numbers come from.
I have a point of information.
Council lady,
And we're looking at actual, year-to-date actual from 2/28/26. So what is the last time these numbers were current? Are they current now? So we would have current year-to-date?
current year to dates is a snapshot that is required to develop the budget. The projections are based on the actual, and the only column that in this budget that's going toward projections is G. That's what I'm anticipating based on Q3 projected out to the end of fiscal year. It's just an assumption based on the current trend. And you put it in there, you do a 5-year actual, you see what that number is for that particular object category. And then if it's somewhat skewed from G, then you look at, then I was okay, well, what's causing it to go up? Again, one example is benefits. They've been going up this way. So the 5-year actuals are gonna be way less than the current trend of 2 years. So I look at the last 2 years and I average them and I pop that number. So these are just projections. It's based on historical data only.
But I guess to know where we actually are with these numbers, we need current numbers. February, we're in the end of June. So where are the current numbers? Are there current numbers?
You will have the current numbers when we do closeout for Q4. There is no way possible if to be able to give numbers to pass a budget before June 30th, even if things were posted same day, all day, that's still probably, at least a week or two variance to where, okay, if we did close out or did at the end of May, take 7 days to get those actuals because you got to have time for the posting. Then we got to advertise it. Then we are right here where you don't have time to do it. Because here again, whether I do a Q3 at the end of February, do it at the end of March, end of April, you still got to project to the end of the year. It's a projection. So whether I project it for remaining 12 weeks or remaining 6 weeks, again, the fewer number of weeks, the more accurate it will be. But it's not saying that the 12-week projection is not going to be the same as the 6 week. It's just, I can't argue that it's not going to be more accurate than waiting, 2 weeks out. But we don't have the luxury to do that. And the Budget Act don't require us to do that because, again, you're supposed to amend your budget periodically anyway. These budgets are assumptions that you're not going to have anything concrete because that budget don't work like that. Again, I can tell you what sales tax is for this year, but if the economic conditions are not the same for the entire month, it either can be more or it can be less. And who fault would be if the economy tanks? If we give instead of $6 million in sales tax, 4, how am I going to project that? You can't. So that's what I'm saying. You do the best you can with what you have and knowing that all these numbers are assumptions. They're not going to be spot on because guess what? They give us a 5% standard deviation. Before you have to adjust. So.
And Ricky, you're absolutely right, but Column E is actual year to date, is actually what we're doing right now. It is supposed to be real time
No, that's not,
numbers. So my question is, are we current?
that's not
Are
correct.
we reconciling? Are we doing our due diligence?
That is not correct. When you, the items, the columns that you have to have, go to the budget. They give examples.
Right now,
You
I'm
have
not
to
talking about the budget act. I'm talking about our current year-to-date numbers, year-to-date. Are our numbers current? Have we reconciled? Have we done what we're supposed to do?
The current year numbers for the closeout year, I haven't run.
Yeah, so what she asking, this what she asking.
So the questions I don't know.
So the number, so,
I mean,
let me try to break it down to you.
Councilman Law.
I'm just piggybacking on Evan saying, E is not a actual figure of money that we've used already.
No, it's actual as of year date.
Yeah.
Of that.
It's real time.
They asked me for the numbers you did.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Person at a time, Councilman Law.
I just want to hear your answer.
It's as of that date. I'm right under.
Okay, February 28th. So now, my question is, I'm just pulling this out. We have spent, all right, $193.70 for,
That particular line item, Mr. Graham was talking about, yes, sir.
no, am I right?
Yeah, that's what you said, 193?
193
Correct.
on what?
That's what I was trying to pull up.
You have an invoice? What?
Yeah, that's why I was trying to pull up. I'm just reporting. When I run the report, that line item, that's what it gives me. See, and then we're trying to backtrack so I can read to you what an actual invoice said, so I can answer Mr. Green's question.
So now I want you guys to follow me, because I think when I was speaking, I told me we had this conversation, stuff be going through my head. So when just take that particular line that we on, you see that it's budget 242, right? Y'all see that at the time of February, 193 was spent. See, now when you see the remainder of 101, but then you have a projected spending of 295, which means that's an increase in the budget. Correct. So when you ask now, you just said, now projection just assumption, but when you increase the budget, how do you know it's going to increase by $40,000?
Because I just projected. What I did was, you look at, I think there was 34 weeks. That date represents 34 weeks.
Okay.
So we got 52 weeks left. So what I did was I averaged at 34 weeks what's spending per week, how many weeks left, and that's what that number. Then you add them together. That's how you.
But later. So now my question would be, what did you see from to make you say, hey, well, now we need to increase the budget for the fiscal year going forward, but we no longer need to do the 242. We need to do the 295.
I'm gonna go to the Q3 because I got it this time. General fund. Q3 for that line item. The 65% was the target based on that end year-to-date thing.
My goal is if we can cut down and add this, we can do it help our community and just do. If you I don't know what's going on with the pool course, you short, we need to be, we can put this down. We get the pools up here. It's hard, we can do. Get sheets and the rest, get a balance a little bit. But we, if we should do it. Yeah, you have a question.
So actually that number was at 63%. So I actually reduced it to 295. Because based on the year-to-date, from the amended budget, it was less than that. Because the amended budget, again, was we did that Q1, and again we inherited numbers and we just used them and we just rolled on with it. So again, that was at 63%. That's just to give you a snapshot of what the projection will be. That should have been at 65. Okay, so to project it out for what we anticipate with projections should be what's that 65 minus 100, that's 35%. So what I did was 35% should be what's we gonna spend for the remaining few weeks in the fiscal year, and that's what that number represents. And that column, let me go back in that column F. So you add F and E. That's how you get G, and now I use G in my 5-year actuals to get a projection. So whether I did it at week 34 or week 42 or week 50, it still should be the same.
I mean, I know like how you get G. My question would be asking is, what are you seeing in real time to make you say, I know what you were seeing in real time as a bearer,
Yeah,
because you had the numbers for it.
Right.
But given, so it's like I said the last meeting, it's a 4 months difference in the
Right.
then and now. What are you seeing now? They say, oh, well, it's gonna be additional almost $50,000 on your end.
based on the average, based on the 5-year.
You can't go to 2-year previous because everybody just said that for the past couple of years that this particular line was never been utilized.
I don't think that's true, but I can go back to
I mean, I'm not looking. I was just
right. So I have
like
a 5-year actual.
Councilman Locke said so, but I don't want to know over
I
this.
can't say. Only thing I
I'm here in front of me. I don't like to talk.
all I can say, it was in the budget that we inherited, and I think it was in the budget before that. I don't know how far out it went, so it might be 2-year average, might have been 3-year average, whatever it was an average.
So in hindsight, so do you see for this particular line? So you see that it's going to be best to keep it in 295.
Based on the historical data, yes. Because it should be within a 5% variance one way or another, either up or down.
Point of information. You refer to the budget act. Where did you looking at stuff? What did you spend it up at the third quarter? What documentation that you have to show that you spent that 193? What you spend it on?
I run the report. There's whatever's inputted in the system.
What? I'm gonna ask you again. Maybe somebody else can answer. What was it spent on? It spent
That's
on.
what we're trying to find the invoice so I can tell you.
Oh,
that.
that's what I'm waiting on.
Yeah. I've been trying to engage in that and do this at the same time.
So you say you ran a report.
Yeah, I ran a report and the numbers that are input.
So you can't run a report.
And give you.
You can almost give me actually the year to date right now. If you just run a report.
Yeah, I can. I don't know how long it would take, but do you want me to find the invoice? No, I can, but
I'm asking the administration what we. Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to know what you keep this.
You can zero it out. But here again, I didn't go and independently verify an expense that's been on the books before we got here. And we still getting it. So I can't just use that, but y'all can if you want. But if those bills still come in and there's a repercussion behind it if we don't pay it, that's I'm not trying to get in that debate. Because if we can not have that expense and move it to something else, Mr. Green, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. But
I guess I can't agree with Councilman Green on this because when I asked you about the expenditure part of it, we ain't saying it, but I'm telling you, when we look back, we went through with that red light, and that's when Councilman Mr. Jones even said it. That was for that red light, and he said that we spent money on it, but I think I'm thinking back, we didn't do that. We just, because we asked Ms. Alford, she just decided it was gonna be too much upkeep. We said $200-some thousand for a red light. And we spending this kind of money every year to upkeep one red light. So what I'm saying is something else is being paid out of this itemized item besides street and traffic light. Because that 193, we don't have any lights. So something is being paid out of it. Like Councilman Green alluded to, if we can get rid of this and maybe this money will fall under streets, but you got a lot of street money in it. No, listen to what I'm saying is, we can erase this out like you said. I'm saying whatever projects they've been paying for. If you find out, if you show me what they paid it for, I can tell you if it came out of street funds or whatever. It could have came out of street funds. Because we got a tax for street funds. And this is street tax. See, that's what I'm telling you. It should have been in the streets. This here is itemized out because it was for red lights. It was for street lights and red lights. That's why you don't see it over in streets.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? You follow me?
Right, and that was one of the questions early on, is why it's not in the streets. But here again, that was a line item that was already in the budget prior to us coming in,
Right.
and there's current expenditures being spent out. Why would I question whether or not those expenditures are valid? And why would I question whether or not they go into the future?
I guess the question was.
So,
not
but
directed at
if
you.
we,
So
if
you
it's
gonna
not
find out-
something that we
you gonna
can't,
find out what we,
she's gonna try to pull an invoice so I can just tell you that I can just look at it's Entergy and we've been paying it, and there should be an invoice, and again, all these payments are bills and claims.
Okay.
Everything that you get, every input that I have for the budget, when I run these numbers, the inputs y'all get every month. So this information is in bills and claims, so it's there. So if I had a bill and claim from last month, we could flip it and I can tell you exactly what it is. And who came from Energy, we tell you exactly what it is. Because all the information that I get when I hit that report, y'all get every month. Because all this stuff is in bills and claims. All expenses are in bills and claims. So there's nothing that comes in the report that I give y'all for these budgets that y'all don't already have.
Councilman Dolan. Drew, you get a chance.
Yes, I believe. I'm assuming you guys are working on that, trying.
Yeah, she's gonna pull an invoice and tell you exactly what it is. 'Cause so it should be more than just that.
Yeah, it's got to be more than just that one invoice.
Right.
Because again, it was the original budget was 242, right?
Mhm.
And then it was quickly amended in quarter one to 295, right?
No, it was more than that. It was more than that because it ended up in Q3. It was a reduction. I don't have that one in front of me, but it was a reduction.
What I'm looking at right here, it says the original budget is 242, right? And then column E says actual year to date. That's 193. That's what you spent.
Correct.
So in between the original budget and the actual year to date, there had to be a reason why it needed to be increased.
Because of the rate that it was going. And it actually was the ultimate decrease because the original, but again, those original numbers, we inherited.
Right.
So I can't justify those numbers because I don't know where it came from. All I can tell you is when we put the budget together, because the only thing we really fundamentally changed was salary. If you go back and look,
Right.
that's the only thing that we kind of stripped out because we knew they was very overinflated. Everything else, that's the reason why there was the issues with the street. We ended up having to take those things off. Those things we kept because we had no rhyme or reason to say, hey, I'm gonna take this out. For what? We didn't have any reason to keep it. I mean, to take it out. We had all the reason to keep it because we don't want to take something out the budget that later is an expense. And then y'all come back, well, why y'all take that out the budget? So we did. So I can't really, when I'm asked questions about the original budget, I can't really say it other than my projection is based on the actuals. And it's just it's not an exact science because budgeting is not an exact science. So, saying that this number I projected we're here that's 34 weeks out, and you telling me that if I give you a number that's 50 weeks out, of course it's gonna be more accurate. But it should be within that 5% deviation, which at the end of the day, that's what we are allotted. Standard deviation either 5% up, or 4.5% up, or 4.5% down, and you're good with the budget act. So here again, with that standard deviation, I'm confident in going with historical numbers because if it's out of whack before the end of the year, we're gonna fix it because we're gonna see it. Like that one was 63%, should have been at 65. It was an ultimate reduction in Q3. So that's why I'm saying these numbers. I mean, I don't know how to say other than what I keep saying is based on history And it's an assumption because all budgetary numbers are an assumption. And Mr. Green, if the perfect world, I will give it to you 2 weeks. You know, we have to post it 10 days. I will give the actuals to you 12 days before that. 15 days before that. And then run it to where I won't be no more than 4 weeks out.
Mr. Rick.
But the time constraint, if we didn't care about not having an audit finding, then we can do that. We can do the budget in August every year, and it'd be perfect. You have 100% of it, because well, guess what? That year to date will be closed out. It's a reason why they allow us to make these projections, because I can give you an absolute more accurate budget in August than I can't give you in March or April when I give you the proposed budget. But if we don't care about the audit finding, let's do it. Let's do it. I'll wait till the fourth quarter. We close it out. I give you actual, and that will be 100% more accurate than I give you. We can do that. But what I'm saying is that ain't how it works. But again, I'll do whatever y'all want me to do, because again, I get these numbers based on the information that's inputted. And again, every data point that I have, y'all get every month.
Mr. Ricky, thank you for that information. What I'm more concerned about now is the numbers are important, but what I'm more concerned about is what it was actually spent on.
Yeah, and we have invoices.
Right.
If Ms. Monica was here and that question came up, if anybody brought that up in finance, she would be able to tell you. How many times she asked, but what's this right here? And she'll pull the invoice to tell you.
Right.
She's just not here because here again, we're not at that stage, because that's the kind of dialogue that should be going on in finance and not at the proposed budget. Because we got to have people here to give you the answer. Because I'm just going to tell you, we spending this money in this category. I just can't tell you exactly what it is, but we got an invoice for it that somebody's going to pull for you.
Councilman Locke?
Let me first of all apologize to you because I see exactly what you're saying. Our concern, because we were here last year and we had that same issue.
Mhm.
And we want to know about this particular, I've gotten you all off track trying to find out what you understand.
Mhm.
But we're just interested because this one, it should be eliminated.
I mean, I'm going by what you're saying, and if what you're saying is true, it should have a sunset somewhere. Maybe this year is a sunset. Mr. Green is spot on that in Q1 when we do a budget reduction, we got zero spending. You got your answer. You got your answer.
Point of information too, Mr. Smith.
Councilman Jay Green?
Point of information. Let Mr. Locke spoke about that. But see, you plug in numbers,
Yeah.
right? I don't care if you was up to date. If you had everything up to date now, you still couldn't answer the question I just asked you.
Correct.
You couldn't answer the question as, where's the invoice? You're still looking for the invoice. That's the whole problem. We're telling you, before you was in your position, we know what that line item was for. But now something else is being paid out of it, and it wasn't designed for that. Because when Mr. Jones said it was for the red light, and we were saying that it was all for the red lights, because we was like, we didn't realize we didn't have a 1 or 2 red lights. We was like, why are we sending this much aside for one red light? And then when it's time to fix a red light, they didn't have the money, because they said it was gonna be, how much was it? $1 million or something? How much they said it was gonna be for the red light fix? Mr. Green?
What is it?
Councilman Doty? Councilman Doty?
Well, what we have is a couple of invoices from, and these are street lights. These 2 different street lights. Got another invoice?
No.
What's the location on this one?
Point of information, man.
Councilman Doty?
And then I would say during Q4, Ms. Monica probably can tell you exactly, these charges, but they're different locations for streetlights, different amounts. So the information, I'm not saying what you're saying, it wasn't told to y'all, but I got 3 different invoices with 3 different locations for the same, around about the same month. And this is more than one street light.
Well, point of information, excuse me, I was, that's still a lot of questions, but I was. Councilman Doty.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, go ahead. Councilman Doty. Say it. Go ahead.
If you got those invoices there right now, right?
From Entergy.
Okay, so what are the numbers on those? There has to be a reason for what it was paid for.
And when?
This is from, this is current, this is due, well, it was due on June the 23rd. It was for $19,000 at street lighting. And it has 1A, 1E, 1D, 2D, 2B, 2A, and it got the kilowatt hours and then an amount for each one. Then of course, you know, they had all these charges, hurricane offset, fuel stabilization. These are, okay. So look like we got one at Days of Commerce, MLK in South Commerce, Highland Road at Bash Pie, Bash Pie, what is that? Forest. Street light. Oh, so this one street light. Sorry, hold on. Street lights. That's just counting. Don't tell me the locations.
So.
So yeah, that's the question because again, that's the cost. Again, I can't speak to what we all were told, but just what she's giving me, that's a recurring cost. It seems like we got more than one traffic light.
So let me ask you a question. Just piggyback. So when we looking at these, just for understanding with the board, when we looking at, this is one question, when we looking at E, it's real time number.
Yeah, that's the actual as of that day. That's why I put the date.
It's real time number.
That's real time number.
So the next question, is it possible that if you saying energy, it may could be coded wrong? Do we just take it out this line?
I don't know because on the invoice it said street light. Here again,
I'm just.
during the next finance meeting, we can Miss Monica be able to ask all those questions because here again, if it's something that's going to sunset, she'll be able to tell us.
Point of information, Mr. Rick.
Yes, sir.
Jay Green, do you think we got a red light, a street light at all those places you just?
No, I was just going by
No,
what I'm looking at may not be what I'm.
It's not accurate. We have 2 street lights that we, responsible for. You just call out about 5 or 6.
And again, I'm just going by what's this. I don't know what's what. Miss Monica will be able to tell you because again, those numbers.
It could be
Well, because
Miss.
I don't know.
It could be miscoded because we don't have those many red lights. You just call out.
No, pull back. I just told you.
Well, tell me what street light that I'm missing that you're talking about. Please somebody tell me the street light.
No. When I gave you, I'm looking at GFA. I'm just going by the account and just add those names.
So
She stopped. The clerk stopped me like that ain't street lights. Locations. Those are accounts, and they just named it that. So there may not be.
That's the energy bill that's probably coded.
Not well. It could. We do have energy in other places.
That's the energy bill that's coded wrong.
And it could be.
Nothing there.
There could be energy bills coded wrong with that street. It could be.
Awesome.
But again, when I run the numbers that are inputted, that's what I got. So the question is in finance, when you do a bills and claim, Miss Monica, who does that, she'll be able to tell you, and she can verify whether or not it's been miscoded. I can't tell you if it's miscoded.
And maybe I can make it a little simpler for you since you just gave me. Attorney Jones was here when all this transpired. You probably said why it's not in streets, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't designed for streets. We had 1 red light and 2 red lights. That's why it was broken out into street lights and red lights. That's why it wasn't, am I right, Mr. Jones? That's why it wasn't open in the streets. It was separated out, it was segregated out to stand alone. So if something happened to that red light, we had the money already appropriated and allocated for it.
Right.
Now, I don't know what can transpire since then, but just think about it, Mr. Smith. If it would, that part, it would be in streets. It's segregated out just in case something happened. We wouldn't have to go find the money because it was already set aside specifically for the red light. It was not designed for nothing else.
So what that's probably is probably that was put in there for that particular street light. But at the same time, energy bills, but so the name probably should needs to be changed. And again, Ms. Monica will be able to tell you exactly what's what, because we may just have to change the name.
Because what I'm getting at, we talk about streamlining
Right.
and spending. So what D. Green is right. If you can, instead of spending out of this, you can, if it's in streets, you can spend it out of streets, pay for it out of streets, and that money can go into the general fund and fix your pool or whatever you want to do.
Right. But if what you were saying was true and that the nature of the spending for those streetlights sunsetted, and it was just they just still using this title. The title should probably need to be updated. I can tell you right now, the energy bill that we're paying, that's probably some of that is probably that, if not all. Yeah, I mean, energy is a must. Again, it's good that you pointed it out because now, you know, during Q1, we could do a deep dive in it, and if that line item title needs to be changed, and we audit everything that's going in there, and if it's all energy, we just need to put, you know, utilities energy and keep it going. You know, so, and that's what a lot of times I notice, and you'll see here and there, I've changed titles to certain things because they shouldn't be called what they're called. And because it's confusion on his face. One of them is that I changed to give you an idea. Viola reimbursed us dollar for dollar for certain costs. If you go and you look at it, I showed it to you that I renamed it because it's not a true expense because, you know, we bill them back. So we paid $50,000 worth of this expense. You're going to see on the revenue side $50,000 because they reimbursed us on it. It was named incorrectly because it was seen like we paid for it and not being reimbursed. So this could be one of those things. And again, we're going to further streamline some of these things and eliminate some of these object categories because a lot of these are redundant, unnecessary, and they can be, like I said, I'm looking at one, I probably can merge 4 of them to be one. And that's probably what needs to happen. And but that's a good question, Mr. Green, because that may not be something that's going to totally fall off. That's just probably a line item that should have been something separate from this. And when that, I guess, repair ended, it should have went away.
Councilman Doty? Mr. Smith, did you say we had a light?
No. I just was reading
Okay.
what was on here. Ms. Monica will be able to tell you exactly what's what.
Well,
Because I don't know what
invoice that you had in your hand.
it didn't have that on it. I was reading from GFA. You stopped me because that may not be.
Okay.
I may not have been reading right.
Gotcha.
So I don't want to further confuse you because I'm not the one that's
I got
prepared. Because I don't input any of this.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Okay, yeah, let's go to line 132. And then now I can, you can find your projection on this one, feel free. So we budgeted $4,000 for 25. Year to date, as of February 28, which is real number, $146,411. It's a remaining $54,589, which projected to spend for this particular line item that was budgeted $4,000, we projected to spend $201,000. Then for the current year, the 26-27, when we adopted, we have an increase by $71,000. And that's the question, why are we increasing that by?
You got to look at, and this is what I'm glad you brought that up. Because that's one of those things that we consolidate and eliminate. You go to line 135, look at that amount. That was, again, that was what was originally budgeted. Those expenditures should have gone in 137 because those will not prepare maintenance to any equipment. So that's where that change comes in to like, okay, you take that, put that there, because that 4,000 was wrong. And the 135, line 135 to 136 was, I would say 4,000 is wrong, but that 136 and the 4 should have been in one category.
Explain to me again. So you tell
Okay,
me.
go to page 3.
Okay. Give me a minute. So you're telling me So you take me back to 135, you say repair, maintenance of equipment. So you saying we have budgeted at 136, we haven't used anything, we haven't repaired not one equipment item?
Not out of admin. That, again, that money should have been in materials and supplies based on what we look at and evaluate the expenditures. Because
So that means we purchased, now we about to purchase $200,000 worth of material and supply?
we did in the current fiscal year, because we bought air conditioners to put into.
Okay. That's true.
You know, and I told you that before, the last meeting, when you said the 4,000, I said the 4,000 was wrong. Well, in the sense that 135 shouldn't have been where they shouldn't have had that 136. Because the administration don't have equipment to repair like public works. So it should have been always put in my estimation, and moving forward, it's gonna be materials and supplies, because that's what it is.
Yeah, so cause now when it comes to Q4, just for the council to understand, this to have something we should see those purchases, because we have to approve that amendment when it's time to adopt the amendment budget.
Yeah, but that's assuming that we're gonna have $54,000 worth of expenditure. We may or may not have. It'll be
But
updated.
we're gonna have to adopt it regardless, because
Yeah.
original to the projected budget.
Right. So whatever that closeout is, it's gonna be that amount.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to.
So there's no, there won't be any
Just know.
Yeah.
And so now going forward, you feel that we gonna be purchasing 75,000 worth of material and supplies now?
Yeah, based on,
You can't go off past prior history based off this particular line.
no,
Because
not that particular line.
right, so that's what I'm saying. So going forward, the $75,000, that's what I really don't know that, but that's sufficient of what we gonna be purchasing for the next fiscal year.
we're gonna have to stay within that. We're gonna have to stay within it, because if we get to a point where we spend more, then it's something acute happens. Because again, this is for acute stuff.
But also too, if we do lower this budget, particular line on this particular expense, if some oversees it, it's when you come back before us and ask us to allow you to allow the administration to spend it.
Well, the only question I have is
Why? I get you to say why, because that's what we asked them. Do you see? It had to be a plan in place where you can. Because we can't go all past practice cash issue for this particular line item, because prior to now it was only budgeted of $4,000. So going forward, it's budgeted. So in this particular line item, is it legitimate that we're gonna be estimated to be spending roughly 75,000? And if so, what are
and the thing about it, and to answer your question, I would have to go back to the 5-year actuals and see what was in that account that we zeroed out, because they could have been using that.
But you hold up. You can't go back to that, because that in administration you just say that's repair and maintenance, and we ain't repairing and maintenance in administration.
Under what we consider repair and maintenance. I don't know, they could have been using it for the same thing, but just using it out of that category. I think it's a better expense category to use it at. So I probably put those two together. I just don't have 5-year actions in front of me. So it's a semantic thing. It's all about semantics. Because I'm eliminating line items because we don't need all these lines.
Right.
And to me, that's a better catch-all to put it in. So again, if you want to reduce the budget, at this point, it's better to do it during one of the quarterly reviews, because you have next year's data to go by.
Well, but also too though, if the moment we, just correct me if I'm wrong, so the moment that we adopt the budget, we go July 2nd, you can spend up to 75,000 right then.
If there's an acute problem that we need, just like
I think what you're doing, but it's just I know you're not
right,
but I'm just saying it's true about right.
right. That is true, because again, like we had an acute problem with the air conditioners, because
Hey, I'm just
that's day-to-day operations, and you don't want to hamstring. And it's a 75,000. We're not talking about $100,000, $200,000.
100 over 25,000 or more.
I understand.
You just said it ain't about 100, but it's 75,000. it was, when on X, we was put it down and we replaced it, Marvin, in some more recreational, is that, but if it's a true expense that you can see going forward, and I don't want to touch it.
Yes, because you're gonna always have acute problem. Here's the thing, people, when you do your budgets at home, you know,
Well-
people try to set aside money just in case something happens,
Well-
because if you don't, then you have a problem.
Well, so, cause I can lower it and put that money elsewhere, Ricky, because just based off this particular line item already, we budgeted 4,000, the administration, it's exploded that one by 201,000. So we still can lower them. So
But if you spend it and where you move it to, then you back at the same problem.
what problem?
If you move, say you reduce this by 25 and you spend somewhere 50, and by the time the acute problem comes, you spend that 50 that you moved.
I'm glad you said that. Just look what just happened. You just budgeted this particular line item at 4,000. So acute problem happened, you still spent $201,000.
I didn't put the $4,000 in.
But I'm saying, so you can't say it can't happen just
No.
because the budget is lower, right? Just say if I put this amount at 10,000, right? And then the administration runs to acute problem, and you still, apparently it shows you still overspend. It's on us to say, hey, we approve that amendment, because the administration got to pay it. Because you can't just, because the reason why I said it, you can't just say, we holding you to what we are budgeting for, because we budgeted for this particular line item 4,000. You spent 201,000. Well, you projected to spend 201,000. So what I'm saying going forward, if I want to lower this to 10,000 and move the other 55 to pool, then you still gonna, if something happens, you still gonna spend it. It's on us to approve that amendment.
No, why would we over, that's the reason why we admitted it.
You just did, the administration just did it. I'm telling you, look at number 137. You budgeted $4,000. Year to date on your numbers was $146,000.
Because in the Q3, in probably Q1 or Q3, I combined those two line items.
But we talking about, so when we adopt this budget, we gonna be amending this line item here.
No, you adopted the proposal. The
Amendment.
only column only column that you're approving is I. Other stuff is just what I have to put in the budget.
But we talking about because now you gotta come back for us to do adopt the amended budget. And
It's
this
going to do it because the auditor has recommended us to do that periodically. We coming back to you regardless, because that's what we're supposed to
to follow you.
Sure.
So when you come back before us for the adopt the amended budget, this particular line item be an item that we are amending.
if it's a regular course of things. Because then you have to run the course of having special meetings. Because here again, I'm answering your question based on the numbers, but here again, from a policy standpoint, at some point, you gotta let the administration run day to day.
We're not putting it
Point of
And-
information there.
Councilman Doty.
That same line item, 137, you're talking about 4,000, then going from 200 to 1,000. That line item was amended in Q1.
Q1 and probably Q3, yes.
Yeah, Q1, it was amended to $201,000. It was amended to where it's at now, 201,000 in Q1. I went back and I looked at it.
Right. Yeah, because we combined those two and then it was given the budget authority to be able to buy that. Yes, sir. That's because that acute problem came.
So this one,
Because you put the 4 and the 136, I think it should have been, before we did the amendment, it would say that acute problem wouldn't happen.
Right.
It would have been 140 in that budget.
So what
Yeah.
two line items did you combine again now?
135 and 137. 135 is on page 3. And again, Calvin Green, I'm not trying to defend the original budget because I didn't put them numbers together. I just made it the only numbers that we changed were 7. Everything else I kept. Yes, sir. That's absolutely that. That's absolutely that. That budget we got inherited, remember, we adopted late. And the only thing that we changed in a significant way was salary. We made a few modifications here and there, and it wasn't till Q1 and then Q3 that we changed. That's absolutely correct. We didn't have any input other than what we changed.
Point of information. I think what Councilman Gray is saying. The original budget, 4,000. You make the adjustment in Q1.
Yeah, I think more like this.
What he's saying is, when you make the adjustment in Q1, you got the money, where the money come from?
The money came from, the base of the money.
No,
came from-
no, stop. It came from the general fund somewhere.
It came from one of the other line items.
That's what, I think that's what he's saying. If he's saying if you do the budget, if you take it out and you put it in the general fund somewhere, when you go over, you're gonna have to get it before the council. You saying you got nothing that day-to-day operation, because whoever did the budget, regardless, it was about $4,000 in there. And all of a sudden, you amended it to, first, you did it to 200-something thousand. The money came from somewhere. That's what I think that's what he's
The
saying.
council approved because we had to spend it in other places. Yes, sir, that is absolutely right. But here again, it's easier to start from 140 to get to 210 than it is to get if we only put $30,000 in. That's my only point.
You saying
Is that from that standpoint,
but
it's easier to do.
for the sake of looking at this budget, just looking at the budget. Y'all saying the same thing pretty much. You saying it's easier to start, right? It's easier for me to start at the middle of the thing and run down the yard. And start at the beginning. This is at the beginning. I'm saying you saying two different things. Right. No, what he's saying is easier, but you saying it ain't right.
Regardless of what he's saying, even if you budget at 140, Rick, and you spend 201, you
Still
still overspend. So there's no difference.
No, y'all approved that change.
And that's what I can just go back to what I said about what's the Lord is like going forward to put this money into pool to help America get the pool going. And if you run into a true problem in Q1, we could do the same thing.
If everything is equal, yes. But if that money is gone, then you're at a detriment. That's the only thing I'm saying, because you can't have both assumptions. You know, you can't have that one assumption, Mr. Green, and not have the other. So that's what I'm saying. Those assumptions have to go both ways. They can't be in one direction. That's all I was telling you.
We're talking about the pool. So the mayor, you'll have to answer this question for me, please. What point are we at with the pool? Because we're talking about moving funds for the pool. Are we close to opening the pool?
No, we actually was giving out the pool, but we had to stop and go ahead and finish Dotson Park. And we're gonna jump back on the pool house and get it fixed because the roof is messed up. And once the pool house is fixed, then we'll replace the electric handle to turn on the pump, make sure the pump is functioning right. And if the pump is functioning right, then we're gonna save a whole lot more money. But if it's not, we have to spend a lot.
So how much money do you think you need? Because we only budgeted, it's like $25,000. You may need more than that.
Yes.
So if we're talking about moving money, we need to know like an amount.
And
I'll get that, but actually we gotta wait till we fix the pool house. Then we gotta get the handle, because the handle rusted out. So I don't want the workers cut their hands on it, so I had to get that replaced. Once we do that and figure out if the pump functional or not, then we'll know exactly what we need.
So it sounds like a great idea to move some money to the pool,
I agree.
Mr. Green. Deeper.
Yeah, well, the reason I would,
agree with it. I agree with it.
yeah, the reason, because I come in and I heard administration vision, especially when it's related to some of this benefits to the community. So I was trying I am just me making suggestions what to put there, so we won't have to run into any issues. But I think even with speaking from the pool, we had to do some work there already.
And it ain't that I didn't want to answer no question for you, but I'm working hand in hand with him. I let him. Yeah, that's all. It ain't. I don't want to answer what you got.
We do this all day.
But that's all. I want to make sure you understand.
So even back to let's go. That's it. Me was question marks from administration. I still would like to put it down.
you can't, you can't, I would depending that from a policy standpoint, but again, Mr. Curry, you make a motion, get a second, you get two other people, it's changed.
So that had to do for the other ones I did.
Yeah, if, I mean, I could put them all
Thought
into
you
one.
just write it all down, then we go.
Right.
Yeah, I just,
What
it-
you want?
cut it down 25.
Which one?
Material and supply.
Okay.
Now, that just means just at the end, we, you know. I'm
So,
sorry.
say again, please. Material supply, cut it down 25.
Check personal air conditioning.
So you're talking
Yeah.
about
I want something.
a number of 50,000.
That's.
So go from 75 to 50,000.
Yeah. 137.
So this one is gonna be July coming up. You say you gotta do all this repair too, so like an assumption the pool might not be up to run.
We gonna try. It all depends on getting the pump house fixed, so when it rains, it won't get on the electric handle. And we can change the electric handle out and turn the power on and see how the motor is going. If that motor is good, still good, then we good, but if not, we have to do that. And once we do that, we can go to Dyson.
So what pool are we talking about?
East Madison,
East Madison.
yeah, it's easy to fix.
So if I may,
Councilman,
have we did an estimate of what the total number or the actual number would be to fix everything associated with opening the pool?
that was Councilman Lady Tappan just asked.
Uh-huh.
We won't know nothing until we fix the pump house. Once we fix the pump house, then we can get the handle fixed, and once we get the handle fixed, we can turn it on and see if the motor runs. If the motor runs, we good.
So
If not,
so this $25,000 kind of gonna be dedicated to,
yeah, to that pump house and that pump, the handle. Okay, once that's it, then we have to come back. Well, if y'all can put some more money over there, we might be good.
no, we're gonna wait. Yeah.
No, we don't need that way, but we can move it, we can use it in Dyson once we. Because we gotta do some more work. Big Nick. So,
We move.
yeah, big it one time.
You can go to the next.
Mr. Green, did you want me to put that 10,000 into that pool
Well,
from the original?
Yeah, because, you know, he just,
No, I'm talking about from the original, adjustment you made from the sample.
you should delete it.
All right, City Marshal.
We're gonna start off. District A, Council Lady Tappan. Yeah. I'm gonna have that.
I said, who's gonna ask the question? I'm not sure.
She was sick, yeah, she's still sick. She been off. Sick.
Okay, so she has 3 budgeted positions, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, well, as far as the salaries, I didn't look at the salaries, and I guess I'm not understanding about the pay. The report I received, her salary is less than her employee salary, so. Yeah, I mean, but we don't know how, we don't know any of the details, so that's why I wanted a report from each department. But nobody probably can answer that because she has her own report.
What was it?
Right.
I said I was looking at the salaries, and her salary is actually less than her employee salary, so. And all, to be fair, I was trying to understand the breakdown of how she gets paid. You know, so we want to be fair in whatever we do.
Councilman, you got
That's
one, Councilman Doty? You have anything?
No.
Councilman Jacobs?
Hey, I would,
I said Jacobs. Oh, Councilman Digger?
point of information there. I'm glad you're here. And the reason I'm asking, I guess it's for you and Ricky, well, and I previously asked a question in regards to, said Jeff had to do a lot of work this year. So when we went to have our report, this became an issue for us, City of Marshall. So I want to ask you guys, because I remember Mr. Ricky said, if y'all don't approve the budget, I'll define this on you guys. And so I want to take this, when it comes to, because this particular department, we talked about inside the audit report, and he asked us, Angela and I went together, he asked us, how are we funding a department that is in the audit themselves? So how we know what we should be giving? So I want to ask you guys.
I have no idea.
Cause I don't, you know, he made it clear to me, Mr. Angela, we need to see about that. So I'm asking you guys. So he was telling us about, his question was, Ms. Angela, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's the
He
question.
said that, I don't know, I can't remember how it came up. He was just like, yeah, we need to be mindful of we funding the entity, because he said we have no control over it. Once we, like, so right now, we have control over their budget. We just, well, in regards, we just send the money. So how we know this is what we should be paying if no, what they mean is why I'm here.
Well, I know Senator Katrina Jackson Andrews and they represent the Asian officials told us we have to fund so much to them.
Right.
And they say a dollar amount, but we have to do it so.
No, but let me kind of chime in.
Okay.
It's not, he wasn't really talking about the dollar amount, he was just talking about the whole process. He said each department should be able to submit an audit based on the things they've done. And I know I've been asking for like how many court summons been served, things like that. He said we should have a detailed report before we fund a standalone department like that. He said we should ask for it.
How long have we been, y'all, the city audit?
I don't know, maybe 2 years now. Yeah.
Just here?
Yeah, he just,
Yeah.
He told me that.
Well, he told us that.
Yeah, but he never spoke that word, no more.
Well, I mean, but you know, we just let just his brain, he told us.
I believe you.
so, and I'm saying it openly, so.
And I believe you, but.
So that's why I asked, because, and another reason why I asked, is last meeting when you were saying about audit findings, and you pointed directly on us. So if we're gonna run into audit finding based on the situation, we listen to our auditors, then what do we do? And that's why I asked Devin for his legal wise, because the reason I said it because, and you being clear, I got calls, and Ms. Smith said the audit findings on you guys, and you said that last meeting. So now when Mr. Jeff said something about an audit finding, and you said the same thing, I don't want to be y'all the reason, because in so many words you said we don't pass the budget. You said the audit finding on y'all screen. So now with Jeff saying that, it's just, and we talking about this budget. Why he said it, Mayor, I don't know. But this what this guy said.
So he said it's an audit fund to fund an entity that hadn't had the audit or something.
He said, how are we doing so?
Yes, it was a question.
How? So you're saying by giving them money and they not in compliance, that's the issue?
I don't know. I'm in regards because we got here.
Councilman Doty?
He asked the question, he asked the question, why were we funding the marshal's office? And we don't have a detailed report from them. We were either supposed to get a budget or some kind of financial statement. Have they provided anything to the city
But I don't think they prepared a financial statement.
Well, he said they should.
For some time, so I don't know. I don't even know if they.
I think she has some idea of maybe what that is supposed to be, but there is some information that is supposed, of course, having to do with either a financial statement or a budget. There is some information that's supposed to come from the city marshal's office to the administration. And they're supposed to use that in the process of working on their budget.
Mr. Jones, because of the marshal office, how she classified, instead of doing a regular audit, what is that she has to file? Some type of affidavit, what is it called?
She's under 500,000 in revenue, she can do an affidavit audit, which has to be done, which is historical, it's been done by Mr. Duplessis, has done it previously.
So that's probably the document that we probably should get, but
in regard, I know Mr. Merrick just asked the question, how long he been our auditor? We said 2 years, so we just levels of things to now. So it's kind of like, so legally, makes you.
Yeah, legally, and I've discussed this before with other people. Legally, the question becomes, the question I believe is, for clarity, is the question that since there is, the marshal's office is behind on their audits, they have not submitted audits, do we have to fund the marshal's office? The legal answer to that is yes. We are bound by state law that came into being in not last session, but the session before, that says that we must fund the ordinary and reasonable expenses of the marshal's office. That doesn't say with the caveat that it's in an audit or anything like that. However, not having an audit makes them ineligible for grants and other things like that. They can't receive state funding, grants, or anything like that until they come into compliance with their audits. But it does not prohibit us from funding them, nor does it mean that by law that is there an exception or carve out that says that they have not timely filed their audits. We don't have to fund them. We still have a statutory obligation to fund them.
Councilman Jay Green?
Point of information. Everything that you're saying is true. And Mr. Jones, you was here when I was, you was in the office when we talked to the people in Baton Rouge, and you was part of the conversation. If it wasn't for Mr. Jones, it was never, the marshal would not have got a dime. Because the people in Baton Rouge said that law that was passed was not designed for Baptist specifically. It was designed for standalone marshal office. That building, they couldn't afford their life, insurance, and all that other stuff. But I heard it from my own ears. They said, y'all are doing way more than the bare minimum because you house them, you pay all their salaries, you pay all their bills. I'm telling you what they said on the phone. This is not hearsay. They said you already doing it. So if you do anything else, they should thank you because you don't have to do nothing else. This was not designed for a city like Bastrop. It was designed for small municipalities who the marshal's office was shutting down because they couldn't afford to stay open. So somebody got with your legislators, you know how it works, and they said it was meant, and it's offered out it called. And that's why she went and measured the square footage of the office, did all the light bill, computed the phone, and said we paying way too much. As far as everything that we've done is true fact. The attorney is nodding his head right. So I already know we've been in compliance. I've just been trying to just say, hey, that 78,000, just be thankful. You know, instead of let boom 190 something, because if it wasn't for Mr. Jones just really just saying, okay, myself and the council, it would be like we already doing it because we already paying their salary. So it's not like that we're not doing what we are always supposed to do. Ms. Jackson was right. You know, Senator Mr. Fisher was right. But when you start doing your due diligence and you start calling the state, we already in compliance. So my thing about it is I don't know about no audit. being turned in and all this other stuff, but I'm looking, and my point is, when I said I wanted her to speak, because when I look at these numbers, then you break down the number, I just gave you everything that we paying for, and we paying for all the salaries. We paying for the health care and everything else. So my thing about it is, if we supplying all your needs and everything, like 98% of your budget, all I ask for is to see the expenditure, see what are you spending out of your office, see what kind of income that you're bringing in. So therefore, remember we talked about wasteful spending? Remember we talked about tightening up the budget because we want to fund our own police department? So we already doing what we said we was gonna do, and we already meeting our obligation. So therefore, I would ask you, Mr. Ricky, don't continuously go up on these numbers. And we probably look at cutting. Because we already doing by law what we're required to do. So I don't want nobody to get misinformation saying that we're not trying to fund the marshal's office. The attorney sitting right there, he can tell you, he can attest to the fact that we already doing way more than the bare minimum. We're doing way more than the bare minimum that the state law requires us to do. So I'm looking at these numbers. I see it went up, and I would make a strong suggestion that we go back down to that 79. And if they need any other money, they come to us with they come to us and show us the need for the money. And just versus us just putting it there. Show us why do you need that money so we can ask the questions, because if you asking the city to up the money that we've been giving you, show us the justification. Show us why. I think that's fair. So I'm asking this council, so let's go back down to whatever comfortable, whatever number you guys feel comfortable with. I'm all with it.
But that was my thing. That's why I'm sorry. That's why I mentioned Tarika and Devin was from the legal aspect. Well, the information we got, I just want to make sure this body, the council. I don't, like Ricky said, I don't want no audit findings that happen on the council though, but also too, once we do that, then the day-to-day operation on what allow the spend to be, I don't know. That's why I don't really know what type of agreement situation we have, but I just want to make sure just going forward that this body, from what we was told, because we paid this man $100,000 to tell us the stuff that he told us. So I just want to make sure we don't need no audit findings on us if on our end. And then also too, I don't want to, because like it made sense and I heard the process. I don't want to hold nobody to, like you said, let the administration do what the administration do. So you guys are the administration, but not really, but y'all speaking on behalf right now. So.
Yeah, when you look at this budget, Mr. Smith actually did him a favor, because a lot of that stuff that I was computing and calculating in what should have been calculated in is not in here.
So.
No. What I'm saying is if I'm looking at the numbers going up here, but if I use the formula that the previous administration used, it's going to be more than this, because we're not segregating out for utilities and space. And we probably did phones or whatever. But I guess what I'm saying is, when you look at the overtime, we don't have any control over that department once we give them the money. When you give the person the money, they can spend it as they will. So I guess what we need to try and do is make sure that we give them the money. And I'm not saying it's not used appropriately, but I'm just saying that we should get something from that office showing the revenues and the expenditures. So therefore, we can make a comfortable decision as to how much money that's necessary for them to operate. And if you just just drawing numbers out of your head, that's not a good way to practice business.
I really don't think,
Councilman Petey Green.
I really don't think my counsel was legally or counsel okay.
State it again.
I really don't think my answer was, my question was answered, but I just want to know, legally, is his body okay? Or if
Yes, this body has to,
it's the risk, let the record reflect.
Oh, it's on.
yeah, so this body underneath the law has to provide for the reasonable ordinary expenses of the marshal's office. That was the change in the law in 2024. Or that headed, well, it's a 2025 law that heads into that you have to have the ordinary reasonable expenses of the marshal's office, which caused that big debate over what it is. And there is a lot of what your elected LLAs and auditors deal with. They deal with things like, hey, have they submitted their audits? And that's what they look at. From an audit standpoint, yes, they're out of compliance for not having their audits, but it nowhere's in that Louisiana law does it say that you as a council get to not fund them. You still have a statutory duty to fund what is reasonable and ordinary.
Well, they didn't answer legally, so.
And where that came from was a Bossier case. There was a Bossier case out of Bossier. It's either Bossier or Shreveport. There's marshal's office. They got to fight it. The Supreme Court said that, hey, you don't, all you have to do is provide them space and stuff like that. You don't have to provide ordinary reasonable expenses, kind of like the court system was. So the court system, we fund the clerks that are in there and everything else. So they had the next year in 25, they had the statute amended to where we just don't have to provide space. We have to provide operating expenses. Now, as a practical standpoint, from what I hear you saying is that, hey, you come to us each year and tell us this is your operating expenses, but we don't know what your operating income is. So we're just working off what we give you. There ideally has to be some income coming in, and y'all want to see from them, hey, what the income is and what are you getting in addition to what we give you. Because as Mr. J. Green said, once you allocate that number to that subdivision, that person, they control their own budget that is not voted on by the council. That's why. And so generally speaking, the order of preference of how that works is that you would ask for a budget. They would submit a budget request to you. You would take that budget request based on the line items or the things or the details they give you, and you would scrutinize it and you'd say, okay, I see why you're asking for this dollar figure. This is the numbers that how you got to this dollar figure. Let us go through and see if that's ordinary and reasonable amounts. And then you would vote on what is ordinary and reasonable.
Okay, so when I appreciate you for answering legally. You guys.
It's on your.
So now, briefly for budget perspective, I mean, I don't know what you looking at for is, I don't know what you're looking at, but I guess, with us is, as Ms. Angela stated, and the board said, overtime. If somebody happen to do overtime, they have to do it in salary. It's
Right, my amendment is
same thing
eliminates that
to
at
the
8,000.
marshal office. Now for what the administration see big, what we need to give, whenever the administration let us know, we can sit down from that point. But my standing on those come different from that $8,000 overtime.
Yeah, I got that in.
Okay. Paying bills.
Attorney Jones made a statement.
Councilman J. Green.
Attorney Jones made a statement. He said, they don't put words in his mouth, but he's saying, once we give that money to the other political subdivision, it's their money. But he also said in the same breath, before you can give somebody something, they should present you something. So you'll be able to analyze it and see how much you want to give and how much you are able to give, or what do they actually need. We haven't been presented any of it. So how can you ask us to pass something based on something given to somebody else we haven't received? That's bring out saying we cut this down in certain areas, but there's no justification for increasing it. I've not seen it. You projecting some, but I haven't seen it. Nobody from the office presented anything else. I'm the finance chair, but I haven't seen anything from the office this year.
And we haven't got anything in regards to that affidavit that Mr. Jones talking about. Because I mean, when you go to legislative article, there hadn't been one in a while. So there's not one to pull in reference.
What you said? I can't hear you.
I said there was that affidavit that's required, there hasn't been one filed in quite some time, and that's one of the things that I wanted to reference. In regards to documentation, there is none, so. And this budget is just based on continuation of current year budget.
Continuation. I guess we, say this here. Because a lot of it is dealing with group insurance and all that other stuff. When you itemize it out, it's pretty much standard. So my thing is, why did you increase to 79?
That was based on just purely the projection of this current year.
So,
Because there's no 5-year actuals for that. Because y'all gave one line item, just like appropriation of lump sum, I think maybe a couple of years ago. And then this past budget was based on what it looks like now. This is just.
that's what, I guess that's my question. I know there's other stuff that's out of our control, you know, like the insurance and all of those. But we want to continue to do that. Like the Social Security, Medicare, and all this, Medicaid, and all this other stuff. Y'all got to think that gave me the smallest one. The group insurance and all that, we can't do anything about that. But I think we need to stick with just what you say. You said projections. I think we'll be safe to continuously do it. Let's just go back to let's go back to 79 and take out that overtime and leave everything else the same.
Yeah, the 8,000 is coming out already. So you want to reduce it from 80 to 79?
They won't do, I'm looking at somewhere, about 80.
Yeah.
It's 80 now, and supposedly.
But you did on your amended, you put that 8,000. Just keep it at 80.
Let's keep it at
No, did I put that at 80?
No.
I didn't put that. It's 80. I didn't put it at 88.
Okay, well, we want to make sure, and, okay, I'm telling you, that, so you well aware that we don't want to exceed 80.
80 is in the budget. I eliminated the overtime. I didn't add it to that. Because I told y'all the one, and Councilman Green kind of poked me in that. I said the only one that was extra was the marshal. But in fact, the sheriff, the police department. That was the only one that was extra.
Because,
So I just cut
with a
that.
lot of the changes that's being implemented and all the other stuff that we, city got going on in the marshal's office and stuff, we should be able to decrease that. Hopefully next year. Because, it'll be like, I think it's the second year it's been passed, Mr. Jones. How long since it's been passed and that was mandated that we find out?
I believe this is the third year going on third year.
Going on third year, whatever. So,
This will be the third budget cycle.
So, just so everybody knows, next year, we're gonna require that office provide us data to justify whatever costs that they're gonna incur. And if not, then be well aware as chairman, I'm gonna recommend that we give with Mr. Jones and we do the bare minimum.
Council Lady Turner.
Okay, well, I'm probably speaking out of turn now because I was just gonna ask that our marshal, submit to us, a report about her office, revenue. That we can look at. The chairman said next year.
I'm just making recommendations.
Yeah. I think it's an excellent idea.
Next year.
No, I would like to at least see a report, pretty soon. When she's out sick, if she could submit a report,
Yeah,
just to give us an idea of the revenue that all this is producing.
Point of information, I'm looking at this overtime, I'm kind of conflicted. I know that we have about, what, 12 even a year, maybe 15, 16, and then you got the other boards. How many other boards that they do security for, that they have to be here? They be here for zoning?
I have no idea.
I be here for every meeting, they come on. Okay, so that's zoning, I can be here, security be
Zoning, historic, yeah, historic, zoning, city council. We have a lot of them, so.
Okay, I was just. We don't do with the parish school system.
Nah, we don't pay them. The school board pay them for that.
That's what-
Yeah.
So we just whatever. In the courtroom.
And then when they gotta go out sometime and serve, they can't catch people, during the day and they trying to hide, they go out and after 5.
I just refer to it, so I'm just trying to get a check. That's true. But it was joke, all right, that's about, anything else on that?
You got anything else?
Y'all got anything else on city of Marshall? Let's move on.
We got, airport, public works. We did the fire, we did police, park and rec. Members, I'm just gonna see which ones y'all have questions on in regards to the remaining ones we got. Municipal center, because all these are pretty straightforward. I think we had a discussion already about public works and park and rec on the previous meeting. We never really got into, again, those quick, the airport, well, it's 147, which is 11% decrease. The municipal center is 107, which is $72,000 decrease.
Hey, Rick, I do have a question. It's not about the airport, we know the public works.
Yeah, I thought we already did public works. You got whatever questions you got. I'm saying whatever remaining questions y'all have.
We did that in finance.
Oh, we did that finance. We did that last meeting. I just want to retread questions that y'all have already done because those are because I remember we had questions about and I re-answered the question from Mr. Doty before that you asked. I think it was in finance. So it's just whatever questions you have, just because I don't know what we covered and what we haven't covered.
Yeah, I thought you were going, I was waiting till we get to it too.
Right, but I don't want to belabor if y'all didn't have any questions. So I'm just saying, kind of at this point, we kind of hit everything except airport, municipal center, and I'm talking about the course of all the meetings. And because City Marshall was one we didn't hit, and everything else we hit. So
I definitely don't, well, so what did we do about line item 203?
2 or 3, those are the month, everything that I put out overtime, I zeroed out.
Yeah, I don't see that on the. I do. Okay. So you didn't insert it nowhere? And you put it into 201.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand, because you increased, the budget increased almost $200,000.
Yeah, we just went through that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is streets, cemetery, garage. Yeah, what was I'm sorry, wrong blank. Patrol. Yeah, I think that's 5. And then part of that are vacancies and some of the employees that were on the books that are not on the books that still had placeholders for salaries. Because we had some people that were out on extended, I don't want to get into, medical stuff, but those are all those employees.
Did we do that, this, when did you do, we did this last week?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we was talking about today. I just understand.
No, today we talked about it, because I think you asked it in finance. And I was like, Mr. Doty asked, and I gave the number. Somebody, I don't know if it was
You know what, man, and they got.
I know, somebody asked it today.
They got one thing they want to ask about public works, and I thought that maybe I missed them.
No, I didn't want to go over something that we retreaded unless you had something specific, because we hit that before, because me and Mr. Doty had a long conversation.
The budget prepared.
But again, I just say whatever questions y'all have, let's do it.
They got questions, we got questions.
I know they said.
I don't have a mark, next to line 282. What do we do with that?
280. 282, those are part-time. Those are not reductions, those are part-time. Park and Recreation has, 2 part-time, employees. 2.
And they're making 95,000?
Let me finish. They have 2 that historically there. We added 3 part-time coming up this fiscal year. So they're, what I say, 5 part-time. Those are 5 part-time positions.
282.
Yeah, those are 5 people for that.
Fine. So, question, point of information. Are people applying to work at the city of Ashford? Any position, like especially, streets, and so how many people have we hired?
Like five people.
Okay,
Yeah, and then, 5 people. And we got a.
Public Works,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, those are,
They go to street and, actually it's like probably 7, but they go to street and to the parking.
Full-time, part-time,
Full-time.
okay.
But you know, the sheriff, not sheriff, but the prison, they pull all 8 of their workers, so we just bounce them back from that.
Why they do?
So they don't do no more business. Well, because whatever they told them one day, and, the guy that he leasing the jail down there,
Mhm.
and said this is last week of the business, we ain't gonna business sit down. So, but, what they're doing is they pulling the workers and sending them to school for welding, and then send them to metal. The more money they make, the more they.
Maybe, Mr. Mayo.
Councilman J. Green?
Well, you, in it, got something to do with the administration. Don't know who that.
And then that's.
How many employees is in each department? I know Mr. Doty was asking this. I'm asking this for a reason. Cause I'm looking at the, I wanna look at the, what the budget is.
Mr. Smith had that, didn't you? I had Ms. Smith with that.
yeah, we have,
Smith had it on, you ain't got it, Ms. Smith had it on. Oh, you got it too?
He got it. That's direct. That's what I want to talk to.
I was just gonna put what I get.
Yeah, you got it.
Mr. Smith ain't doing no but pulling numbers. Well, he's supposed to be doing, only thing he doing is plugging numbers. Am I right, Mr. Smith?
That's right.
So Mr. Mayo should be the one to give me. Yeah, I mean, you got.
Okay, what I have is, approximately, we're talking about public works. Approximately, 30 employees total. And you got,
Hold up. You said 30?
Right.
Okay.
Is that with the new hires?
there was 5 new hires. That includes that. Now, this may be off 1 or 2.
Okay, you said 30?
30, right, total. 2 in building and maintenance, 3 in cemetery, 2 in animal control, 10 in streets, 3 in garage, And we have some summer workers as well, which I don't think that's not part of the 30. The mayor hired 8 summer workers, 6 guys and 2 young ladies. You divide those up, 3 in Parks and Rec and 3 in streets. Now, the total amount, I got 10 FTE, is that right in Parks? Parks and Rec, total?
Parks, no, all those are going to, Park Recreation only gonna have 2 full-time and 5
Okay.
part-time. Rest of those are going to, are being put into, public works.
These are the 25 you hired? I'm getting confused, y'all confusing me. The 8,
5
10
in
that you
public
picked the
works.
summer program.
No, it was, how many ones?
It's 10 now.
10 now.
I got a 5 more to get, 5 more getting in place now because the school board was.
Okay, I guess my question is, I'm excluding them. I'm talking about, you say you have 30 workers, right? 30 in this
The-
department.
Ms. Dow told me it was approximately 30.
Okay, I guess what, and do you know how many we budgeted for?
Well, that includes the 5 that we just hired. So what we budgeted for, I yield to Mr. Smith.
It's an additional, 4, because you got the public works director.
We got some people off too.
Yeah. Yeah, hold up. How many did you budget? How many personnel did you budget? You say you got 30, right?
That's what I'm,
Next work. I'm trying to see about that. How many we budgeted?
Hold on the screen, I think I closed my sheet. Let's see, where's my HR report? All right, HR report. Let's see.
How many budget?
About 32. And that was with the 5 vacancies plus there were 3 individuals that have been on long-term disability, or well, there are 3 positions that should be converted into vacancies because when their salary is still on the books, just a number only, and they can be converted into full-time. So that's gonna make up that.
Okay. Yeah, let me go slowly. How many, you say you include the public works, right?
Yeah.
So you got 30. It's 30 is working. So how many did you actually,
32 plus with the public works at 32.
32, there's 32 jobs. So we just too short.
Plus I can call them vacancies because the names are still there till that happens. So
Okay.
those 3, so I would say another 5, even though I count them not as a vacancy, but I count that that's
Yeah, because they actually, yeah.
they're still there, but they're coming off.
Yeah, you should.
Right. So those 2 vacancies and then plus 2, I guess, budgetary vacancies and the public works.
So, yes, look, let me go this way. So if you got 30, and you say you budget for 32,
Correct.
but you got 5, that's awful with it, but they actually still count the same.
It's 3.
It's 3. Okay, it's 3. Okay, I'm just looking at the number. And you include the public works director.
Yeah.
So by all assumption, we should be almost fully staffed.
Yeah, well, 2, yeah, should be.
Okay.
Is it 30 and it's 30? But where's the record? One of the vacancies. That's a true vacancy.
That's public works and all the public works, right? That you just gave. The reason I asked that question, I mean, you budgeted for it, and that's probably why they talk about this overtime. So I want to go real slow. So if you budgeted for 32 and the mayor got a summer program that you're gonna hire 15, where's the money coming?
It's in the regular salary.
Right.
Mhm.
But if you budgeted right, you wouldn't have that much money because you wouldn't budget, because we didn't budget for 15 extra people.
We budgeted for those 8 weeks for those people. We budgeted for 8 weeks for $950 for 8 weeks for 15 people. So that's probably not even a salary for one of the things. So it's in the budget. So it's not 15 people for 52 weeks. It's 8 weeks, and then the first week they didn't even start. So I mean,
I don't care if it's for 3 days. You're missing my point.
it's budgeted in the budget. It's budgeted.
Okay.
Rick, so are we at, recreational expense?
I don't know, but if you got a question, Mr. Green, I
was going to ask, I see that, for the department, you guys lowered the budget.
Yeah, because that was one of those categories where we had, again, just time got away. We had mentioned of developing the food truck park, and that was some of the funding that we set aside to try to develop that. We won't have time to do it this fiscal year, so that's going to get dramatically reduced just because we just didn't have time to put it together. So that's something that we'll work with the council once we get to the point where we got some mock-ups to do and with a price to it, and then that's something that we'll come back to the council. I'm sure we're not gonna be able to do it for the $30,000.
So you, I kind of got started. I was letting you talk, but I kind of got confused. So you said previous you had put that inside the salaries for the.
No. I thought you was asking about the recreation.
I was asking about 281 and 282. And 281 is 55,000, 282 is 95,000, which give you a total of 150,000. And the reason I was asking because.
Well, what line item you? I'm sorry, I thought you were on something else.
281, 282.
Yeah, this in recreation, 281, 282.
Yeah, and we projected to spend at this end of the year 290,000. So that's 100.
Right, because of consolidation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the people that's in park that they was talking about that's going. Okay. Yeah. They all gonna be one street street and grounds crew. And they're gonna take Public Works Director and they take care of all the grounds and all the streets in the city. So those positions just got moved to Public Works. So you got 4, that's why you only have, that $55, that's 2 employees.
But we moved so fast, we've been long. So we did, you said we did take out 2.
We're going to municipal center.
Yeah, unless you got another, I'm right, Mr. Green.
Anybody got anything from the work? So we move on to
Page 6, line 237. Oh, we already got this situation.
Yeah. No, you already. You got anything already? You go ahead. I think that's great.
We already talked about that. Did we talk about it? We did.
You was 07, Mr. Green.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we ready to go to municipal center?
What, no, we ready to, we not, so, for 201, page 5, 201, we not increasing the budget by that 45,000, we taking out that 45. Because you different, see, because you added it back, you got it on here, the amendment, page 5, 203, delete 0. But then at the top, you got page 5, 201 to insert 875, which means you deleted it, but you put it back in salaries. We just gonna delete it. Just the overtime, and again, for the ones listening, I mean, the employees can't have overtime, which is in this particular line item.
Goes back to the regular salary.
Yeah, it goes back to just the regular salaries. I mean,
Yeah,
because it really wasn't. So, it's whatever y'all want to do. It's just whatever. Spoke on this. We can, you want to delete that?
But
And
what,
then-
if they,
We
y'all, if they spoke on the renewal,
It was the overtime, all of the overtime is supposed to revert back to the regular salary. And I think with the 45,000 there, that's why you got in there, amendment number 5 to, delete and insert 870. It's still the same number, but you're just taking out overtime and putting it back in the regular salary.
That's it.
I have a point of information.
Council Lady Tappan?
I know we normally, give economic development money. I don't. It's what called.
It's in.
line 157. But this one is, it's like, okay. So you said those public working and recreation been combined, right?
No, there are parts of rec that we moved over to public works because the mayor's consolidating, different departments and he's making a street and grounds crew. So they're gonna be working instead of separated, they're gonna work all the city facilities, parks and grounds and streets. They're gonna work as a big one unit. So instead of separating between cemetery, park and rec, street, they're all gonna be combined into public works and they're gonna be one crew. And the public works director gonna deploy them as they see fit to cover the stuff that they separated to. So, you know, these people, they're gonna take care of the cemetery, they're gonna take care of the parks and the street stuff, they're gonna work on streets, they're gonna work on drainage, they're gonna work wherever the public works director tell them to go, they go, because it's more efficient to have them in one big crew than to have it separated, because if you just take care of the cemetery and you done the cemetery, what are you doing with this?
Oh, no, I get it. That's all I was asking. So,
Yeah.
So on 201, your projected spending of 514, is that included?
What was the line number?
201. So they're included?
That's all of the positions that were moved, they got all in one category. That's the 32 that I'm talking about. All that's in there. Yes.
So that's in the 514. See,
No. That's this year.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We just were I is the. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be somewhat skewed because the proposed is the consolidation. You see it? That's the consolidation. It's all that consolidation. That's why Park and Rec went from what it was to the 55 because those positions went.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all the same money, just reorganized and put it all under one umbrella, which is more efficient to do it that way. For its management of your human resource.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah, cause I see that if you look at, as you look at recreation, what's projected to spend.
Sure, right, it's still the current, that was current people.
I have a, request.
What's the lady, Devin?
Line 160, I know we are Morehouse Humane Society co-sponsors. I would like to up their budget by $5,000 if we can. That is line item 160, because they do a whole lot. If we possibly.
We can do 10, I mean, Ms. Green took the 10, I mean, we can put the 10 there and keep the budget balanced.
No, I think 5.
That's what y'all want.
They can agree with me.
106, well,
They can, yeah, line item 160.
160.
yeah.
I want information. What other funding do they get besides us?
I don't know nothing about the Humane Society.
We about a dog food, people donate to them, but
That's irrelevant what I'm saying. If you're gonna require the city marshal to do the same, you can't pick and choose. I'm asking, what this state that able to speak up so time?
Donations.
What?
They strive on donations. They have fundraisers.
people get.
But I think they run our, don't they run the?
They run our
So we got a city working also.
So to answer your question, Ms. Gray, I have no idea what.
Is it gonna be salary? Is it gonna give it to a salary or operation?
That's the check that goes to them,
Yeah.
and that's how it always been. I
Well,
don't know.
salary, it'll be operational.
So I don't know what they do with it. We send a line item, they send over an invoice, we send it to them.
So we really don't know if they use, like, they utilizing the total 20,000.
They are. They are.
They about a lot.
Yeah.
They are.
This is a line item that's been on the books for a long time, so I'm not sure
They are.
where it originally came from. It's just one of those situations that, right, it's one of those things that y'all been paying for years. I have no idea.
To me, every time they get it.
Right, so I don't know that question.
And they have Walmart and different places donating.
Just don't wanna come up as a hypocrite. You talking about city marshal law, you gonna mandate that she show us the reason that she needs the money. I think it should apply to everybody.
Oh, I can
They-
get y'all, I
they-
can get y'all there for them.
Yeah, they aren't the revenue producing department.
We don't put it in, and we have it in our next pay.
I'm not
They
against it,
are
but I'm thinking
donations.
you gotta be,
I know, but there's a difference between revenue producing and donations.
Well, we not getting,
I think they ran more about donations. I think somebody got to get a grant or something. So I'm not sure.
There's a lot of private lending.
So in concurrence to move the 5,000.
I mean, y'all gonna vote on all of them.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we're gonna.
Y'all can do them separate. Together. I'm gonna run down the amendments. Y'all can, you know, I don't know if y'all wanna do them all together, do one at a time, it's just whatever y'all wanna do. When we finish, cause I don't know.
Just put it over there to the side, yeah.
No, I got it marked down, but I mean, I can run through all of them at one time. That's what I thought. It's whatever the council wants to do.
All right. What y'all, move to municipal center? Next, Ms. Smith.
It's whatever, we bounce around, it's whatever council, what questions you have. So I'm not sure, I'm not sure. Whatever question y'all have.
the question I had won't be for what we doing right now, it's just for what we do at the budget, so.
So we can move to the municipal center.
I got a point of information.
Ms.
So when you just said, how many workers we got at the Humane Society?
Oh, I don't know, we got, one employee, I mean, and then the dog catcher.
So it's two, right?
Two, yeah.
Yeah, but they pay in public works.
Dog catching.
Yeah, plug
I'm
works.
going back to public works.
Okay.
I'm counting, I'm breaking down the numbers again.
Yeah, plug works.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So another question, point of information. Do the person at the Humane Society, do they clock in? Who oversee that person?
Mr. Winfield and
So they actually work with the city. They actually work for the city of Ashland. They actually have a time clock in, however you want to do it. So we're responsible 100% for that person.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Municipal Center. Do y'all have anything on Municipal Center? Police Department? Yeah, we did. Okay. All right, that's it.
About the municipal center, how we doing that municipal center with the funding, the revenues? Are we including that tax?
The hotel motel is in,
Yes,
it's
look, I
in
think-
revenue. Some revenue. So. And then, of course, you get rental from, Mr. That's in, revenue.
The Smith?
Any other questions on the budget before we get into the amendments? All right, members, I'll pass up a set of amendments that some addition to those. Amendment 1, men's line 89, Mr. D. Green, actually it'd be deleted and inserted and put 748,150 will go back to what was originally proposed. And that's deleting line 91 to 0. That was amendment number 2, men's line 91 to 0. Amendment number 3, 145. That, because I'm trying to keep it balanced, that number can be 0.
Which one?
Amendment 3.
All right.
Amendment number 4, 175.
You said page 4. Amendment 3 is page 4, line 145.
Yeah.
Which line is suspense?
Yeah, I was balancing the budget with all the amendments that I had, so y'all can keep it there or keep it to 0. I was just balancing the budget because I didn't want any percentage change.
Okay, that was my next question. When you making these amendments, are you putting it back to the general fund or you are reallocating to some other department?
I reallocated because I wanted to balance the budget.
No,
I'm telling you, when I proposed the amendments, I did that to keep the variance at 0. But you don't, no, from the overall budget, so that you don't have to have 5% concern one way or another you didn't have. So that was the easiest way to do it, just when you reduce it, put it somewhere else, keep it balanced. You don't have to do that. I just did that because that's just my practice.
Okay.
When I balance the budget, I keep it balanced. That's my practice. That's my practice. You don't have to do that. That's why I say you can reduce it to 0.
Yeah, so what did you move that 55,000? Did you reallocate it somewhere?
455.
We talking about line 145, right? That's why I'm confused. Line 145?
What you move?
Line 45 was 0.
This is a 145 on here. That's why.
Line 145.
3, page 4.
Yeah, page.
What did you say?
On the part, it say amendment, page 4, line 145.
Yeah, it's 0. He asked what I did when I reduced something. I put it in another category to keep it balanced. So I put it there because the proposed budget was 0. So y'all don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You just put it to 0 if you don't want to move it anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know.
looking-
Line
I'm trying to follow you, Reed.
Oh, you look at the proposed budget, line 45, column I had zero in it.
That's all we see. On here, you got 145. This was confusing me. On page 4. You see, you got on page amendment number 3. On our form, you got page 4, 145.
Yeah.
Yeah, for line 145, that's miscellaneous. What we talking about?
See,
Column I.
But you got 8,000.
It says deleting eight, insert
Eight.
8,000.
Right, because I deleted, which the next line item, which was the marshal's office, I deleted the 8 and I put it, because I balance budget.
Yeah.
If I reduce something, I'm gonna put it somewhere because I want my number to stay variance of 0. We don't have to do it, y'all, we don't have to do that. And I said, y'all can put it at 0 if you want to. It doesn't really matter. Whenever I make journal entries and adjustments, I keep it balanced. It's one program. I'm not trying to have anything that's not balanced. I don't care if the revenues exceed the expenses, it has to stay balanced in what I do. Just because that's just a rule of thumb. So that way it keeps it straight in my book, so I always have a balanced budget. So whatever adjustments I make, so I don't forget. Because if I practice doing that, then I may do it on the expense side, and then it's really out of the way. So if I'm gonna reduce something 8, I'm gonna move it somewhere else, make that net 0. We don't have to do that. That's why I say y'all,
You don't have to do that in all instances. It's okay.
but my practice
It's your
is,
practice.
and y'all don't have to do it, because my practice is always gonna keep me out of trouble, not having a balance. So here again, it's whatever the council wants to do, we'll give you. We do it 0, then that's fine.
It's 0. Come on.
So let's vote on each one of these independently, so we don't have to have this issue. Amendment number 1 is amend line 89, insert and delete. We'll actually keep it the same. In the budget, that'll be 748,150. Is there a motion for it?
I make the motion that line item be 748,150.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
All right, amendment number 2, page 3, line 91, column A, reduces that line item to 0. I have a motion.
What's that? Second. Making it 0. Second, all in favor? Any opposed? It carries.
Item number 3, men's line, page 4, line 145, column E, insert and delete, and that is 0.
so move.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed?
All right, amendment number 4, men's line 4. Page 4, line 175, column I to 0.
Motion. Any opposed? All in favor? Any opposed? Hold on, motion, who's second? Motion by Councilman Doty, second.
Where we at? Yo.
It's on,
Amendment number 4, page 4, line 175, column I, and delete and insert that line to be 0. To 0.
got a motion on the floor,
I think
second by Councilman D. Green. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Amendment number 5, page 5, line 201, column I, delete and insert, that number should be $870,000. No motion.
201.
Amendment number 5.
Page 5, 201. Deleting, inserting. Got a motion?
$870,000.
A motion? They're trying to see where is that on there.
Page 5, line 201, column I.
so. Just for the record, that 45,000 overtime, so deleting it, we just moving to salary.
Yes,
I thought we wasn't doing
that's whatever y'all want to do, because that's not an extra, but what number y'all want right here? Just tell me what number you want right here. I did that.
825.
825.
Yes.
825 right here. $825,000.
Councilman Doty.
We're deleting line 203, yes.
Question.
No, we
We
don't.
on number 5.
Yeah.
Page 5. We on-
Question before we proceed.
Page 5. We on-
Question before we proceed.
Councilman Jordan.
Point of information.
Go ahead.
Are we taking the $45,000 that came out of the original, salary positions anyway? Did it not?
It did. I just put that there just because those vacancies were there, and just in case we had overtime. I've explained this and,
Again, I just want to be clear, because this is not the only one we've done like this.
No, the rest of them, we're not supposed to be doing this
On which one?
on any of them. You just do the operating salary.
no, we
You don't have to-
doing that in fire, we doing that in police, we doing it everywhere else
Fire
except,
police, but
we doing it everywhere else because the only thing that was extra was the marshal, which we zeroed it out. Everything else is either was a practice or was just, we can do 825. I've explained this to the extent that I can. And it's not extra money. It's just not, but y'all can do 825.
Yeah, there is gonna be a decision, because because looking at the previous budget, for the department, so it's hard for me to deal with them.
Can I get a motion and let it stay at 870? It was moving, y'all had changed to 870,000 when we were going through it. So can I get a motion to keep it there?
I got a point of information.
Councilman Jay Green?
Do we have to get to the right? Do we have to be reduced down to writing state law or?
Yeah, I got to be able to post this, but
Yes, but we have to be reduced in writing before we do the amendment.
yes, I have some change. I gotta get the records. I just can't do no letter to change this. Because our proposed budget is what it is. That's not a, y'all adopted it.
Mr. Jones?
I don't think you.
Mr.
I
Jones?
get it's actually, again, I'm sorry, 'cause I'm a little fatigued and
Me too.
On a resolution, it doesn't have to be reduced to writing. The charter requires an ordinance to be reduced to writing. Provision section, I think 21. I looked it up before because we had this, Mr. Bradford. Yeah, section 21.
But again, if we were keeping the same top end numbers,
It's just an ordinance.
you could,
But we're not.
we're not doing it, so we gotta,
We're doing the resolution.
yes.
Yeah. that we're good. Yeah, but ordinances does, that's why.
That's what I'm asking. It all depends on whether you're doing ordinary resolution.
Yeah.
The question was that. But you're
Right,
right.
I understand. We're better.
We had that issue, a few previous councils.
All right, that's what I'm saying. We're doing it by resolution.
Yeah, but
Can I get a motion?
we documented it.
Okay.
That's how we doing. We documented.
Get a motion for the 870,000. From amendment 5, page
I make that
5.
motion.
Can I get a second? This for Public Works.
Yeah, second.
Appreciate it, Councilman. All in favor? Any opposed?
No,
Motion carried.
Amendment number 6, page 5, 203, column I, delete
Roll call.
insert. Oh,
Roll call on that. It's everybody agree with it.
no,
Are you there? Okay, roll call.
Ms. Angela Tappan, District A.
no,
Mr. Henry Doty, District B.
Yes.
Mr. James Green, District C. Mr. Derek Green, District D.
Yes.
And Mr. Howard Locke, District E.
all right, amendment number 6, members, page 5, 203, column I, delete insert 0, reducing that amount, that line item to 0. Their motion.
Yes. This is taking the 45, removing the 45 from the line. Item.
Get a second.
a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
All right, member number 7, that's, page 6, line 237, column I, delete insert. That to be 2,032,500. That motion.
Let's read the employees. Can I get a motion for amendment 7, page 6, line 237? Do I have a second? That's for, all our employees.
Oh, yeah, that's removing their overtime too.
Second. Need a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Amendment number 8, page 6, line 239, column I, delete insert, reducing that line item. There a motion.
Make a motion.
I get a second? Let's remove it over there. I get a second?
I'll make a second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
That's roll call, because the record out, I didn't hear.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Amendment number 9, page 8, line 338, column I, delete insert, change that line item to $910,000.
I got a motion?
I make the motion.
I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Amendment number 10, page 8, line 340, column I, reducing that line item to 0.
You said your overtime. Can I get a motion?
I make that motion.
Can I get a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right. I forgot. Was that amendment 10?
That was amendment 10, page 8, line 340.
Okay. Amendment 11, I didn't write the page number down. That was one that was recommended. Line 137. Delete insert, change that to $50,000.
Line item 137.
Line 137.
Oh.
I get a motion?
We did it, we removed them 75, took it up.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's what I mean.
Can I get a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Line 315, reducing that or adding that to, increasing that to $50,000.
315.
Line 315. Amendment number 12.
You're gonna increase it, we're gonna increase it, what is that?
To $50,000. That's what
Oh,
you
yeah,
had.
we're gonna move it.
That's your amendment.
Who's one?
The one you
Line 315.
Ms. Smith, I think we want to readdress one of those amendments. I think we got kind of off.
Well, also too, with that amendment,
They got to slow that down.
before we ask administration, yeah, food, so, yeah.
You reduce one by 75 to 50, and you added that to the pool.
No, I didn't add it to, I just reduced, I didn't move it to.
That was, you said you put more money for the pool.
Yeah, that when Mark said that he was trying to get up and going, he didn't know, but if you.
Yeah, that's what I said, we need it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, definitely, if you go to food.
Yeah.
So we're not changing line 315?
Yeah, we added 25 to the, see, when he was talking, he was, I thought you weren't sure about doing it with the food, but.
Yeah, we're gonna, as soon as we're gonna get that.
Oh, yeah, most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's what you said. So is that motion?
Get a motion, brother?
I make that motion.
Get a second? Can I get a second?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
All in favor? Any opposed?
We skipped over line 157.
Motion carried.
No, I'm sorry. Line 160.
That's maybe 13.
You're at 13?
Maybe 13, that's line 160,
160, oh, 85,000.
change that to $26,000.
Can I get a motion?
I make this motion.
Can I get a second? Okay, all in favor? And opposed? Motion carried.
All right, members. So it's in the posture to be passed.
Hey, Ricky, we moving too fast, sir. Can we go back to amendment number 5? Yeah, you can go to.
Number 5. Page 5, number 5, read. Ms. Smith. Hold up. They wanna go back to round 5. Amendment 5. Page
201.
201.
What's the question?
Because I know that, and he's just going through it, I know that. My guy, and it's 45,000 to the salaries, or we just moving?
It's moving to the salary. With the extra money.
Okay, because this is the one with the 30 workers, right? And then we hired the children.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
So y'all going to reconsider?
No.
I'm saying.
Mr. Jones? Wait.
That's it for me.
I'll do a few more.
All right, members, with the adoption of the amendments, the resolution to adopt our operating budget is now in the proper. There are motions to adopt this budget
With the changes,
with the amendments.
I make the most.
Got a second?
Second.
All in favor? A roll call.
Ms. Angela Tappan, District 8.
Yes.
Mr. Henry Dolan, District B. Mr. James Green, District C.
Yes.
Mr. Derek Green, District D.
Yes.
And Mr. Howard Block, District E.
Yes, sir. We passed the budget, but you also said we can make some changes in Q1, right?
Q1, Q2, Q3,
Okay, no,
Q4, Q5.
Cause you know, they just made out something, I just, you got to think something.
No, well, it wasn't the number that you said it was, so I didn't get a chance to circle back with you.
Okay, I'll get back with
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I'm trying to make sure.
I make the motion, John.
Second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Hold on. I want to tell the council, hey, every time I do a press conference, I always include y'all. I can't hear it, I always add y'all and tell y'all, thank y'all. Every time I did one, I have done it, but I can't make them down. Also, there's a lot of this left. We're gonna pray for the family here, the death of the family. So I want everybody to be aware of that. And thank you, Mayor, for the information. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion.
Second? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Enjoy.